It is as instantly recognizable as any college campus anywhere. But the team that visits Notre Dame today has more than its own share of storied football history.
It's special to play at the University of Oklahoma. You have a lot to play for, not just your teammates, your family, but also the tradition of the university.
I don't know if you can describe how different, Notre Dame is, or to play for Notre Dame. It's something that you have to really experience for yourself.
Playing for Oklahoma means everything, basically. It means tradition. It means family.
The Notre Dame tradition motivates me all the time. Tradition of winning, family, and hard work.
Two teams bound by the legends of their pasts, where titles and all those glorious races through time have made them both iconic symbols of the game.
The Sooners,
Norman, Oklahoma.
Crimson and Cream,
Fighting Irish, South Bend, Indiana.
And nearly a year after the Irish stayed perfect in Norman, it's time to protect their own turf, their own legacy, in the latest tale to be told of Notre Dame and Oklahoma.
It's a tradition about fighting for what you believe in and fighting to just persevere.
If we can go in there, beat Notre Dame, it can definitely lead this team to greater things.
You gotta play Notre Dame football. That's hard, fast, then coming out strong. You show people you're worth talking about.
No stranger to big-time opponents and star-studded clashes is sold-out Notre Dame Stadium, where 80,000 plus are ready for the biggest test of the season to date. And a week after another grinded-out winning battle against Michigan State, Irish head coach Brian Kelly braces for the deep talent and team speed of Oklahoma, a program that Sooner head coach Bob Stoops has taken to the national title game 4 times in his 14 seasons, winning it all once. Today, all that tradition and all that pride from both teams on the line in a game that will do a lot to shape the seasons of both. And when you add up the numbers, they are still hard to believe. Between the two programs alone, 18 national championships to go along with 12 Heisman Trophy winners. And today, the objective is to stay relevant in this year's hunt for the national championship. Well, it is Notre Dame and it is Oklahoma. Not a lot more needs to be said. The crowd is ready, and so are we. Kickoff coming your way in just a few moments, but first we go down to the field and Liam McHugh for the U.S. Bank NBC Sports Report.
Dan, thanks so much. Alongside Doug Flutie and Hines Ward, Dan really set the stage there. So much history, so much tradition, but it's not really a rivalry. This is only the 11th meeting between Oklahoma and Notre Dame. What is the significance of today's game?
Well, I think both teams find out who they are and their direction for the rest of the season. The winner of this game, BCS hopes. The loser, who are we and how good are we?
Today's a revenge game for the Oklahoma players because they still have a bad taste in their mouth from last year's game. So these players will love nothing more than to come out here and return the favor with the win here in Notre Dame.
Oklahoma players with a bad taste in their mouth. Same could be said for Tommy Rees. Sure, he had those 3 300-yard passing games, but last week against Michigan State, a big step back, just 14 of 34 passing, 142 yards. What needs to happen for him to be successful?
Well, they got to get out of that fade competition on the outside versus press coverage, just throwing fades. So TJ Jones and DeVar Daniels, they've got to step it up, run some little pick routes, little crossers, little spin routes, make some easy man-to-man throws.
We've gotten far too long without discussing the Belldozer. You don't want to make Blake Bell mad. He's 6'6", 252 pounds. The Oklahoma quarterback, what do you expect from him?
Well, his size makes him difficult to bring down, but he's also very mobile. 2 weeks ago against Tulsa, he made his first career start where he went for passing for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. But today is going to be a tough task for him, making his first road start in a hostile environment against a tough Irish defense.
And because he's so physical and lays it up in there, the play-action game is huge.
I mentioned that this is only the 11th meeting between Oklahoma and Notre Dame, but it has been one-sided. Notre Dame has captured 9 of the first 10. Kickoff for the Fighting Irish and the Oklahoma Sooners coming up after this.
This has been the U.S. Bank NBC Sports Report. U.S. Bank, all of us serving you.
Anytime you can win against Oklahoma, it is going to give you a lot of momentum, a lot of swagger, honestly.
Playing Notre Dame and how they came in and beat us, it brings a spark to this team.
A win would just get us back into the light where we should be in the first place.
It's going to be a great test to see how we compete against one of the greatest teams.
A win like this just demonstrates that we really are for real.
The 234th consecutive sellout at Notre Dame Stadium has the 14th-ranked Sooners of Oklahoma visiting the 22nd-ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and out come the Irish. Notre Dame working on a 10-game home winning streak as Brian Kelly and the Irish are home for the second straight week after getting by Michigan State 17-13 a week ago. And there is Big Louis Nix, and he and the Irish defense into a test today from Oklahoma, maybe the fastest and deepest team they'll face all year. Oklahoma at 3-0 and visiting Notre Dame for the first time in 14 years. Big Blake Bell comes out, the starting quarterback for Oklahoma after a huge game last week or a couple of weeks ago against Tulsa. And Bob Stoops, speaking of 14 years ago, he was the coach at Oklahoma. He hopes for a different outcome today for his Sooners. As we welcome you to this great atmosphere. And Mike Mayock, when we arrived on campus earlier this week, there was no doubt about it, the electricity and everybody ready to go for these two big-time programs.
I was at the airport in Chicago yesterday morning. It's like 7:30 in the morning. It was a sea of red. The excitement was awesome. And you know, when you get two nationally ranked teams like this and two programs with the history and tradition that they have, it's going to be awesome.
All right, you were in Norman, Oklahoma earlier this week. What impresses you most about the unbeaten Sooners?
Well, it has to be their overall team speed. It's elite, and they attack you in waves. You're going to see 4 tailbacks. You'll see 6 or 7 wide receivers. But really, the key to the whole thing is their quarterback, Blake Bell. Now, Blake Bell is 6'6", 252 pounds. How he handles the crowd noise, his decision-making in both the run and the pass game will ultimately determine how efficient this Oklahoma offense really is.
Now, we've talked a lot about the Notre Dame defense this year. They seem to come on a little bit last week against Michigan State. But the Irish offense is still looking for a spark.
They have to find a way to run the football. Teams are stuffing the box and saying, hey, Tommy Rees, you beat us vertically. They've got 2 tailbacks with world-class speed, George Atkinson and Amir Carlisle. Now, there's a big advantage tackle to tackle today for Notre Dame. So take advantage of that, but also get the ball on the perimeter. I don't care how you do it. Hand it to them, throw it to them, but take advantage of their speed.
Yeah, Notre Dame rushed for just 82 yards last week against Michigan State. Let's go down to the third member of our broadcast team now and join Alex Flanagan. Alex.
Hey, Dan and Michael, you talk about the titles and the trophies. These two programs certainly steeped in history and tradition, but did you know that they share the same motto? We're used to seeing the sign that the Notre Dame players touch as they come onto the field in their tunnel, the Play Like a Champion Today sign. Well, guess what? Oklahoma does the exact same thing, and they may have been the first program to do it. Back in 1947, it was Bud Wilkinson that first hung the Play Like a Champion Today sign in Norman, Oklahoma. It wasn't until 1986 that Lou Holtz did it here. Either way, both teams have a traveling version of the sign, and yesterday Oklahoma hung theirs in the opponent's locker room. So all of the players here on the field touched their respective Play Like a Champion sign today. And Dan and Mike, I guess the big question is, who will do it here today?
Thank you, Alex. Notre Dame has won 9 of the 10 games in the series. The lone Oklahoma win 57 years ago in 1956. And you can see Bob Stoops 0-2 versus Notre Dame, including that aforementioned loss here back in 1999. Most of the games in the series took place in the 50s and 60s, but it's always special when programs of this magnitude get together as Bob Stoops in his 15th season for the Oklahoma Sooners. They are 3-0, and Brian Kelly's Fighting Irish at 3-1. They've gone through a schedule which has featured 3 Big Ten teams in a row, winning 2 of them. And right now it's another upgrade and test against the Sooners of Oklahoma. The Sooners won the toss, elected to defer, so Notre Dame will get the ball first. Sea of green here at Notre Dame Stadium today, as that has been the theme all week. George Atkinson back deep at his goal line for the Irish. As the Sooners get ready to put it in play, Nick Hodgson, the kickoff specialist, will do the honors. And the Oklahoma-Notre Dame series renewed. It's a line drive kick that Atkinson watches roll back beyond the end zone. Let's take a look at the Notre Dame offense, presented by Adidas.
Tommy Reese, Lake Bluff, Illinois. When I was little, I was a ball boy for the Chicago Bears.
I'm Christian Lombard from Palatine, Illinois, and Nick Martin is obsessed with John Wayne.
Tavares Daniels, Vernon Hills, Illinois, and TJ Jones is my godbrother.
All right, so the Irish beginning at their own 25. Tommy Reese, after passing for 300+ yards in the first 3 games, back down to earth last week, just 14 of 34. As the Irish look to establish a bit of a running game this week. The fake is to Amir Carlisle, and right away, Reese's first pass incomplete, intended for Tavares Daniels.
Good coverage that time by Zach Sanchez. Remember last week, Danny, against Michigan State, that's kind of what we saw all game long. Michigan State packing the box against the run, forcing Notre Dame to throw the ball vertically.
So George Atkinson is behind Reese right now. As Brian Kelly told us that last week, Reese did miss some receivers, some guys that were open with potential scoring opportunities, as Atkinson gets his carry. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Frank Shannon, the inside linebacker, just blew that up. Real good read and quickness. Watch the inside linebacker come downhill. Bang! Point of attack. That's a great hit by Shannon. They've gone to a 3-3 front because I believe the style of play in the Big 12, they've gotten smaller and quicker with more defensive backs on the field.
So 3rd down and 7 for the Irish. And Reese with some pressure is nailed, and it's out of his hands, and romping to the goal line is Corey Nelson for the touchdown.
Left side, Zach Martin and Chris Watt with 75 starts between them on the left side are both going to block inside, and you're going to get pressure coming from the outside. Neither of them see the pressure. That's the outside linebacker coming down, Eric Stryker. Big hit, ball comes loose. First big play of the game, Oklahoma.
And Corey Nelson, right place, right time in the opening seconds of the game. The Sooners getting ready to take a 7-0 lead as Michael Honeycutt blasted through. So what a start for the 14th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Tommy Reese in the offense talking things over. But Nelson, with a hit by Stryker, takes it in for the go-ahead score. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Always remember, 21 means 21. By Liberty Mutual Insurance Responsibility, what's your policy? By the Discover It card, it's a game changer. And by Sprint. Some of the images and leading up to this Saturday again is Blake Bell getting his very first look at Notre Dame Stadium. And it did not take Corey Nelson long. 45 seconds into the game, 24-yard interception return after Tommy Reese was hit by Eric Stryker.
Yeah, on that particular play, it's 3rd down. They're going to bring pressure off the backside. Now, you either have to fan this thing outside and get 3 on these 3, or you have to hit the tight end hot. Notre Dame does neither. And you can see off the edge, Stryker comes untouched. The left tackle, Zach Martin, either has to bump it out or you've got to hit a hot route. If neither happens, if you don't do either, bad things happen. And a great job by Oklahoma.
And that will make the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma, Mike Stoops, happy in his second year back at Oklahoma after serving as the head coach of Arizona for 8 years. The Stoops brothers for Oklahoma here has 7-0 lead. Just like that. So Atkinson waits back again as Hodgson kicks it his way. Another low kick. And this time Atkinson will have a chance on the return. Across the 30 to about the 33-yard line, and that is where Notre Dame will try again. Let's take a look at the Sooner defense, brought to you by Adidas.
Charles Tapper, Baltimore, Maryland, and the defensive line is not just good at football, we also good at basketball too.
Corey Nelson, Dallas, Texas, and as a linebacking core, our motto is embrace your dreams and embrace each other.
Aaron Colvin, Owasso, Oklahoma, and I still love kid cartoon movies.
Reese goes to the air, and this one is intercepted. Frank Shannon has the deflection. And he's still going down the sidelines as they call him out. Wow. But how about that? Tommy Reese with 2 interceptions, and we're just barely a minute into the game.
Three plays, 2 picks. He's looking for the slant route from the outside, to Tommy Reese's left side. He's looking to throw slant. It's man coverage. It comes off the hands. Really good job by Aaron Colvin, who's an NFL quality corner. And you can see T.J. Jones coming in behind. The drive on the football, the tip. 3 attempts so far, 2 picks for Oklahoma.
Couldn't have started in a worse way for Notre Dame and Tommy Reese, as Blake Bell, 6'6", 252 pounds, comes out of the shotgun and swoops it to the near side, finding his receiver, and that is Jalen Saunders for a gain of 6. Blake Bell earned the start this week with his performance 2 weeks ago against Tulsa. He was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week with 413 yards passing, 4 of them for touchdowns. Better known as the Belldozer in those short yardage situations the last couple of years for Oklahoma. And this is the give to Roy Finch, 5'7", 165-pound darting running back. Picks up the first down for the Sooners.
You know, pre-snap there, Notre Dame's defense was confused. Austin Collinsworth ran over late on the slot, then he bumped out. There's a bunch of, look, there's Mark Grace going, timeout? No, okay, wait a minute. Here comes the shift over here. Collinsworth was on the slot. And when you're confused pre-snap, bad things happen. But a great job by Oklahoma's 2 wide receivers stalk blocking the defensive backs from Notre Dame.
And Oklahoma already up 7-0 in business at the 19 on 1st and 10. This is Damian Williams, who did not play last week because of a coach's decision. So Brennan Clay, this year's leading rusher, got most of the action, but Damian Williams is a 1,000-yard rusher from last year.
Yeah, he's also got long speed, which is a fancy way of saying that he's really fast. And last year he had 4 carries that went for over 65 yards. The only guy in the country to do that.
Good gain for him. 2nd down and 2.
This is an unbalanced set for Oklahoma to the wide side of the field. They only have 2 linemen to the left of the center.
And Bell is going to hand it off to Williams again. He's got the first down and more, and he is in for the touchdown.
Trey Miller, the fullback slash H-back, who I think is one of the better players in the entire country, gets the key block on the edge on freshman Jalen Smith. Doesn't get a lot of them, but just enough to get the edge. Damian Williams has got great speed, and so far, Tom, great defense, but we're seeing the team speed of Oklahoma weaning out.
Shocking first couple of moments to this game as Honeycutt just gets it in. 12:15 left in the first. Oklahoma up 14-0.
This is an important game. A win would be a big step in building confidence and continue to chase championships.
I think it is going to show us truly what kind of team we are, especially offensively, going against the best defensive line we're going to face.
Being able to beat Notre Dame and South Bend, it would just show how strong we are as a team.
And right now, the Sooners, who are getting the better of the Irish less than 3 minutes into the game. Tommy Rees has already thrown as many interceptions today as he had all season. And Damian Williams turns the latest into another Sooner score. So another great start for Blake Bell and Oklahoma, who lost to Notre Dame less than a year ago on their home turf in Norman. And Atkinson will watch this one sail out, and Notre Dame will give it another try, hoping to avoid another big turnover.
You know, Dan, I think it's easy to beat up Tommy Rees. 2 interceptions early in the game, but remember, the first one was because of a bust on the offensive line, and the second one was a tip on good coverage.
So Atkinson flanks Rees on the 3rd series here. Give it to Atkinson, who loses 5. Julian Wilson in the backfield.
Dan, does one team look quicker to you than another team? And you're going to see him try to get wide over here with great speed Atkinson. But watch number 2, Julian Wilson. He's the extra defensive back. Remember, they play 5 defensive backs. 3-man front, 3 linebackers, and the whole point is to get as many athletes on the field at the same time as possible.
Oklahoma spreading their defense like their Big 12 offenses that they go against. This is Amir Carlisle, who dives over near the 30, still short of the first down after a gain of 10, brought down by Zach Sanchez.
Now, if you can't get to the perimeter, what you've got to do is you've got to go north and south. Really good down blocks, and then the right guard, Christian Lombard, pulls out and kicks. And that, I believe, is the style of run that can work against a smaller defense.
3rd and 5. Rees has 3 of his wideouts to the right. He goes the left side, and he goes to Corey Robinson, who makes a beautiful catch. Flags are down at about midfield.
Interesting to see who the interference is on, Sanchez or Robinson. Remember, Robinson's about a 6'5" true freshman. A lot of hands by Sanchez and real good body control by Robinson. Back shoulder throw by Tommy Rees, effective and efficient play.
Pass interference, offense, number 88, 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, they had some pass interferences called go their way last week, and this time Robinson is flagged, so that 24-yard gain comes back.
And again, he's going to have to be physical. He's not going to win with speed, and I'm okay with that. I would tell him, don't worry about it, keep doing it, Corey. They're not going to keep throwing flags. But you couldn't add this thing up to say anything else could go wrong for Notre Dame. What a great start for Oklahoma.
So the ball is back at the 15. 3rd and 20.
Oklahoma's got to be thinking draw, screen, and shallow passes, crossers, things like that, trying to get some run after the catch. That's what Notre Dame probably will do.
Rees steps up, delivers, incomplete, 4th down. Intended for Troy Nicholas, the big tight end, but not a good start at all for the Notre Dame offense. Kelly saying he wanted to try to loosen things up this week, get the running game going. He said he knew teams were defending him the same way, stacking him up front and forcing Rees to throw. Kyle Brinz's punt, driving Saunders back at about the 39-yard line, where the Oklahoma offense will begin. A look at their offense, brought to you by Adidas.
Blake Bell, Wichita, Kansas, and I took snaps from our starting center in Ireland this summer.
Gabe Eichard, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and I kissed the Blarney Stone at Blarney Castle this summer.
Jalen Saunders, Stockton, California, and I am the best Madden gamer on our team.
So there he is, the Belldozer, beginning this drive at his own 39. And the give is up the middle, and getting maybe a yard is Brennan Clay. They will use 4 running backs. They will bring in 7 and as many as 8 wide receivers as well in this Oklahoma offense.
It's kind of fun when we had a chance to talk to Gabe Eichard, the center, earlier this week, and you saw the introductions. He talked about kissing the Blarney Stone, and apparently 3 of them went for a trip overseas and just had a blast as part of an opportunity to take a class in Ireland. 2nd down and 8. Bell fakes it, and this is another first down picked up by Jazz Reynolds, another one of those numerous wide receivers that can get into the offensive act. That's a gain of 16. And this is just an empty set, spread the field, and here they come over the ball. They're in hyperspace already right now.
Big time on the move. Saunders the other side here for a gain of a few. Then Council on the stop for Notre Dame.
Okay, this is warp speed right now. When Oklahoma feels like they've got a team going, they're not afraid to get right up over the ball and go.
So on 2nd and 7, 3 to his right, 2 wideouts to his left. Bell goes to his left. This one is overthrown. He had Brennan Clay out there.
A bad throw right there. Easy read. They just rotated to 3 deep, and he overthrew a receiver that was well covered.
So that brings up 3rd down and 7. And for those of you who thought that Blake Bell was just strictly a runner, well, he proved otherwise a couple of weeks ago against Tulsa. Coach is telling us, hey, he was recruited as a passer. Big body, big arm. Needs a big play here. Steps back, fires, and that is over the head of Saunders, and that'll bring up the punting unit for the Sooners.
Good job that time by Cole Luke, the true freshman corner, playing in the sub package. And that's my thing with Blake Bell. And, you know, we talk about the kid wants to be known as more than just a short yardage goal line quarterback, and that's fine. Last week he was 27 for 37, Dan, as you said, but 2 very inaccurate passes that time, and he's got to be more consistent both with his footwork and his technique.
Bob Stoops. It's an amazing run as the play clock
down to 1
is going to go down and out.
Too far for a field goal, and they're not really worried about.
5-yard penalty.
Well, they're going to move it back, no problem. It'll go back to the 46. I was going to say, an amazing run by Stoops at Oklahoma. 8 Big 12 championships. Played for the national championship 4 times, winning the 1. And that was the year after he lost for the first time as a college head coach here in South Bend 14 years ago on this field. So this is Jed Barnett in punt formation for Oklahoma, and it's TJ Jones, who had a couple more adventures last week as the punt returner for Notre Dame. And he watches this one bounce into the end zone. So with 9:06 left and the Irish trailing 14-0, they'll try again here at Notre Dame Stadium, where the Sooners up 14-0. Subscribe and join the IrishIllustrated.com community, part of the Rivals.com network, for exclusive Irish recruiting news and team coverage. And aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything we've learned making tires that go the distance inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Beautiful day on the campus of Notre Dame. Temperature in the low 80s. And the final weekend here of September. And it's Amir Carlisle who's in behind Tommy Rees as the Irish begin at their 20. The fake to Carlisle and Rees to the air. This time it's complete to Will Fuller. So Will Fuller, whose first career catch was a 37-yarder last week, hauls in another one, this for 11.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that they've got to get Fuller a little more involved. He won cleanly against Man for a 37-yard reception last year. He's a true freshman. I know he's got to learn how to run routes, but in my estimation, speed kills, and he's the fastest Irish.
Fuller picks up the first down at the 31. Atkinson for good gain. Brings the pile up about 3 or 4 yards short of the first down. Frank Shannon, a part of that Sooner swarming defense after a gain of 7.
I like Christian Lombard and his ability to pull and locate and seal off inside. It allows Atkinson to cut back. Watch Lombard locate. Nice job chipping off the linebacker Dominique Alexander, and the correct read by the tailback Atkinson.
It is still a running back by committee for the Irish. Cam McDaniel is in there. They're using 4 running backs, hoping to maybe get 5 in, but that's tough to do. And here is McDaniel, and he picks up good yardage before he's brought down by Frank Shannon. A gain of 9 and an Irish first down.
Kind of fun talking to Cam McDaniel yesterday. He's kind of got the reputation right now as the closer, and I don't think he likes that. Look who's in the game.
Yep, Brian Kelly telling us yesterday that for a change of pace, the backup quarterback Andrew Hendricks will come into the game with a series of read option plays from the pistol. Another chance to kind of open up the running game for Notre Dame. So here he is for the first time today. And he gives it to Carlisle for not much at all. Eric Stryker was there to meet him quickly.
Yeah, nice job by Mike Stoops. As soon as he saw the backup quarterback Hendricks come in the game, he got his inside linebacker Alexander out and another athlete in on in the secondary. So they're anticipating that Notre Dame wants to run option, and they're getting more athletes on the field.
Kelly telling us yesterday that Hendricks is a Wildcat quarterback who can throw. On 2nd down and 9. Hendricks looking to throw. Chased out and just throws it away. 3rd and 9.
Remember, Danny, in college football, if the ball's not in the air, you can mug a receiver, right? It's not like the NFL where there's a 5-yard rule. Watch TJ Jones try to make a cut. There's the first. He wants to go back out. Sanchez grabs him, mugs him. Now, is that a hold? Probably, but it is legal as far as pass interference. You can hit receivers down the field.
So on this 3rd and 9, Hendricks is out and Tommy Rees is in. Ball at the 47-yard line. Irish trying to keep this drive alive.
They're going to get the football to their tight end.
Over the middle to TJ Jones for a first down. And he's into Sooner territory for a gain of 13.
Now, that's what we didn't see last week against Michigan State when they were having trouble getting off coverage. We didn't see rubs. We didn't see crossing routes. I think that's what you have to see today if you're a Notre Dame fan.
Kelly telling us that he was set to open up the offense, show the opponent a little more formations. Atkinson. Maybe a gain of 1.
There is so much going on with this Sooner defense. Twists, stunts, but it all comes back to speed. And George Atkinson made 1 guy miss, but there were 3 more waiting for him. I think Notre Dame's struggling right now with their blocking assignments on a defense that's constantly moving.
On 2nd and 9, we see the 4th Irish running back. There's the freshman Tarian Folston in the backfield. And they give it to Folston, who's got a first down and room down the far sideline. Knocked out of bounds. It'll be 1st and goal for Notre Dame as Quentin Hayes finally knocked him out.
Troy Nicholas, the tight end, 6'7", 260 is the key to this play. First they seal it. Now watch Nicholas, 85. He gets on his guy, keeps his hands inside, ultimately takes 2 defensive backs all the way to the sideline. Folston, the heralded true freshman, does the rest.
And on 1st and goal from the 3 after the gain of 36 by Folston, it is Andrew Hendricks back in this short yardage situation. And he's got the most trusted of the running backs behind him in Cam McDaniel. And Hendricks keeps it, maybe for a couple. 2nd and goal.
And that's a planned quarterback keep. If you remember Tim Tebow at the University of Florida, that was one of their favorite plays. Hendricks is a big kid. He's a 230-pound quarterback, and they're going to use him like a Tim Tebow in this situation.
So defensive coordinator Mike Stoops on the sideline hoping for a stop here. 2nd and goal from the 1. And there's movement on the right side with a flag coming in.
Full start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Ronnie Stanley called for the penalty.
Well, I'll tell you, when things go wrong, right? You're on the doorstep within a yard, and this is a whole different playbook and indeed a whole different quarterback.
Reese back in. 2nd and goal. Ball moved back to the 6. Reese has time for the end zone, and it's a touchdown by T.J. Jones in the back of the end zone like we saw him last week.
Really nice job kicking out. It's only 4-man pressure. Look at the pocket. It's beautiful. It allows T.J. Jones to work the back end of the goal line. He beats the defensive back cleanly that time. I think it was Colvin to the inside. It looked like the corner was anticipating help, which never arrived.
So the Irish fighting their way right back in this with a 10-play, 80-yard scoring drive. Reese to Jones, and Brunza cuts the deficit in half. With just more than 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter, after the Sooners scored a couple of quick touchdowns on the interceptions by Reese, he hits one of his favorite receivers, T.J. Jones, to make it 14-7. Tomorrow morning, the NBC Sports Network continues coverage of the Premier League. It all starts at 8 Eastern with Stoke City versus Norwich, leading up to Sunderland and Liverpool. It's the Barclays Premier League tomorrow morning on the NBC Sports Network. So, Mike, just when you thought things might get out of hand, that was one impressive drive by Notre Dame going 80 yards. And within that scoring drive was Tommy Reese going 3 for 3.
Yeah, and they were able to attack the perimeter a little bit with that inside give on the handoff. The tight end has done an absolutely great job in that drive and getting up on the 2nd level. And Tommy Reese, as you said, 3 for 3, extended the drive.
So we saw Andrew Hendricks a little bit there. And now Kyle Brunza. Sends it to the left. Roy Finch drifts over and is going to come out with it. He is one exciting darting player, isn't he?
Fast down.
So out comes Big Blake Bell to try it again with his team up 14-7. The last kickoff return by Roy Finch. They are reviewing that to see if he might have stepped out of bounds early in the return.
It's pretty close. But look at the ref right in the background. He's right on top of it. That looks close, but if he misses that, we got a problem.
He is on top of it, to say the least.
Come on.
Another look from behind here.
1, 2, step inside. Inside. It looks inside, and I'm trusting the fact that with the official right there, there's not a problem.
Finch brought it out to the 24, and that's where the ball is right now as they take another look. Oklahoma off to the 3-0 start with wins over Louisiana Monroe. West Virginia was a 16-7 win, and then they blew out Tulsa a couple of weeks ago. So Oklahoma comes in here after an off week in a 51-20 beating of Tulsa. But again, this is the measuring stick for them early in the season. On the road against Notre Dame and on the road for the first time this season. And Blake Bell getting his first start on the road.
The previous play is confirmed. First down, Oklahoma.
All right. So the ball remains at the 24, and that is where Bob Stoops' offense will give it another go here with just under 4 minutes left in the first. It was green out here at Notre Dame Stadium. All the fans encouraged to wear green. In fact, they gave out some 40,000 green pom-poms, and there is a red ring of Oklahoma Sooners fans up on the top level. Of course, you're not going to let them get too far down there for a great seat, right?
Dude, it is the last row.
And on the first play of this series, this is Damian Williams, who had the earlier touchdown, and he's got a first down. Big gain for Williams, brought out of bounds by Bennett Jackson. And it was Bob Diaco, Mike, the Notre Dame defensive coordinator, who told us yesterday, he says, I think Oklahoma is going to try to run it down our throats.
And they are. They attacked the perimeter early that time. A really nice trap block by Trey Millard on big Mr. Nix in the middle of the line.
And Oklahoma had just 15 yards rushing, if you remember, last year in their loss to Notre Dame at home. So that was a part of the game that they wanted to clean up. Play action. Bell. Incomplete. He wanted Sterling Shepard. He was pretty adamant when we spoke to him. He says, I don't know. I don't know exactly, but here's what I think, that they're going to try to really run the football.
Well, he called it a paradigm shift, and I agree with him. Last year, Oklahoma was kind of cute team. They had Landry Jones. They threw a lot of stuff underneath. They didn't run the ball physically. I think this year they changed offensive line coaches, and they're getting after people. Even though they're attacking the perimeter, this is a more physical football team.
Offense is spread out now here on 2nd and 10, and Bell just runs it up the middle and gets that big body close to the first down. Gain of 9 for Blake Bell.
Yeah, that's a planned quarterback keep. And watch him get on Nix, the nose tackle. Okay, he's going to drop back, and then watch the double team right there on Nix. They drive him 5 yards off the ball. Bronson Irwin gets off on the second level, and that's just another good play call, bringing up a 3rd and short.
And these are the kind of situations that we know Blake Bell from in his Belldozer package. 3rd and short, he scored some 24 touchdowns the last couple of years from short yardage situations. But he's going to hand this one off to Williams, and he's being chased in the backfield by Bennett Jackson. So good defense there by Notre Dame.
I contend in this offense, if you track number 33, Millard, he'll take you to the football. He's such a valuable player. And Millard's offset, and he's going to come over here. Ishaq Williams does a great job coming off the edge, negating that block, bouncing the ball carrier outside, and Bennett Jackson stayed home.
Jackson there with a loss of 2 brings up 4th down. So Jed Barnett ready to kick it T.J. Jones's way. That ball is way beyond the end zone.
That's a bad kick right there. I don't get that one.
So Bennett Jackson and the Notre Dame defense fired up. Forces the Oklahoma punt. Been so many great players through the years in this series, but what about the coaches? Legends in their own right. Great Bud Wilkinson, who won 3 titles. Barry Switzer, 3 national championships, the latest turned in by Bob Stoops in just his 2nd year. New Rockne started it for Notre Dame, 3 championships. Leahy with 4, Parsegian with another pair, and Lou Holtz, the latest of the 11 national championships won by Notre Dame. And there is Bob Stoops winning that championship in just his 2nd season here, the year after he lost on this field to Notre Dame in '99. So the Irish, who have really turned the momentum around in this game, after Reese's 2 quick interceptions, they start here with George Atkinson. And Atkinson good for a gain of 3 or 4.
I think what's important, Danny, is if you think you're a good football team, and things happen sometimes in football games. 2 interceptions, all of a sudden you're down 14-0. This team comes in, they're fast, they're quick, they're pushing the pedal to the metal. And I think Brian Kelly's guys have done a great job of stemming the tide. And the way you do that is by being physical. An 80-yard touchdown drive and then a defensive stop. And now you've got the thing stabilized a little bit.
Boy, was it a physical game last week with Michigan State. Irish coming out on top 17-13. 2nd and 7, they keep it on the ground. This is Cam McDaniel, the battering ram for Notre Dame, but he'd like to be more than that, and he'd like to kind of shine in his own right in that backfield for Notre Dame.
Well, the kid had an awesome high school career in Texas, and a lot of teams recruited him to play safety, and he felt like he could be a big-time tailback. And I know he appreciates the closer role, but he wants to be more than that.
3rd down and 4 now. Ball just across the 25.
Oklahoma's coming.
Reese steps up with the pressure, and the delivery to T.J. Jones, who makes a beautiful move, picks up the 1st down, and turns it into a big gain across the 40.
Zach Martin did a real nice job picking up pressure off the edge, and it allowed T.J. Jones to run a route that took a little bit of time. It's a short route. Nice job over here by him. And then Tommy Reese can step up. And there's the missed tackle. And a good job getting up the field by T.J. Jones.
Gain of 14 for the tri-team captain. And the ball at the 40.
I've never seen a college quarterback change the play at the line of scrimmage more than Tommy Reese.
I feel like we're watching Peyton Manning. Atkinson with a nice move. So the Notre Dame offense beginning to gain some momentum here after a gain of 8.
And what's it been, Dan? It's been power. Okay, since they got the ball 80 yards, Andrew Hendricks came in the game. Tommy Reese went 3 for 3. Hendricks back in now, but it's been mostly downhill run, and I think they have to stay persistent with this run game. They haven't been very good at it this year because teams stack the box, but somehow you've got to find a way to run the football.
Less than half a minute left in the opening quarter. And behind Hendricks is Amir Carlisle. And Hendricks keeps it. There's that kind of option read, and he picks up the 1st down. Zach Sanchez with a tackle for Oklahoma, but Notre Dame keeps the drive alive. 10 seconds left in the 1st quarter. And content to just let the time run out. So we've reached the end of one in South Bend between Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Irish on the march into the first quarter. It is Oklahoma 14, Notre Dame 7. We'll return to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local NBC station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC. Irish on the march here at the Oklahoma 46 as we begin the 2nd quarter. Sooners up 14-7.
Dan, we talked about the run game at the beginning of the show. 10 carries, 88 yards in the 1st quarter running the football. By far the most efficient day they've had so far on the ground.
And they keep it on the ground here to Cam McDaniel. McDaniel's inside the 45, which will bring up 2nd down. McDaniel to get himself ready for games and to just prove to himself that he still has great speed. He watches videos of Adrian Peterson oftentimes before games just to tell himself I can still have those big runs that I used to have in high school.
Yeah, and then he follows it up with the high school tape and says, yeah, I was pretty quick. I was pretty darn good.
Folston,
I don't blame him,
is now in the backfield behind Reese after the gain of 1. 2nd down and 9. It is Folston had the big gain earlier, and he fights off some Sooner tacklers and gets it inside the 40. Still bring up 3rd down after a gain of 6.
You know what happens, Dan, is when a back has special ability to jump cut laterally, he's going to come here and then jump it out 2 or 3 different gaps. Look, that gap's covered, break a tackle, and then stay on your feet and get up the field. What it does is it exposes linebackers that over pursue, and that's a heck of a job, A, on the cutback, and then the ability to stay on his feet and make yardage. Nice run.
Folston has already picked up 36 yards, so here on 3rd and 3, Andrew Hendricks is back in at quarterback for Notre Dame, and McDaniel is back in there behind him. And Hendricks, this time caught, eludes it for a moment, but not before Corey Nelson can finally bring him down for a big loss of 8.
Nice job staying home by Corey Nelson. I thought he was going to hesitate and come down and try and tackle the inside fake, but he didn't. Ben Koyak's going outside, which is his responsibility. They leave Corey Nelson unblocked, and he does a great job staying home.
Corey Nelson, who had the interception return for the touchdown with a big play there. This is Alex Wolfick, the specialty punter for Notre Dame, and he gets the job done there as Oklahoma will begin inside of its own 10, 37-yard punt. Man, there's so many great players and coaches through the years here in the tail of the tape. 18 total national championships, 12 Heisman Trophy winners in all. No two teams have spent more at the top of the AP polls than Notre Dame and Oklahoma. Fewest losing seasons, and the great players through the years. A lot of them here today. Joe Theismann for Notre Dame. Tim Brown, the Heisman Trophy winner back in 1987. The bus rolled in. Jerome Bettis. And not to be outdone, Oklahoma's got their three-time national champion coach Barry Switzer here on the sidelines as Oklahoma goes to work, leading 14-7. Bennett Jackson on the edge there. Coming in, Bell gets rid of it to Saunders, and it's a good gain at the 20.
The right tackle, Darrell Williams, saw the corner blitz. He alerted the entire offensive line. Blake Bell identified. Watch here on the right side. He's going to see it, point it out, identify it for everybody. Here comes Bennett. Now Blake Bell knows he's going out to number 8. That's an easy one. I'm coming outside to Jalen Saunders because I have a safety over the top. An easy way to pick up a first down.
Saunders had the huge game last year in the loss to Notre Dame. 15 catches he had. And on 1st and 10, Bell rolls to his left. And that is complete on the far sideline to Sterling Shepard. Short of the first down, but another good gain for the Oklahoma offense. Shepard with a big game against Tulsa a couple of weeks ago. 8 catches, a couple of touchdowns for 123 yards.
They're in the pistol. Oklahoma's done a nice job with Blake Bell. As a matter of fact, the quarterback Trevor Knight, who started the first 2 games, was particularly effective out of this.
2nd and 2. Movement. Flags come in. Movement up front.
Yeah, looked like the left side of the Oklahoma line. Tyrus Thompson, the left tackle.
Full start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Adam Shedd with the call.
Yeah, the whole left side started earlier.
Now you mentioned a new offensive line coach, Mike. They wanted to toughen up this front line for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Bill Bedenbaugh, who last couple of years was at West Virginia with Dana Holgorsen, had also been at Arizona with Mike Stoops. And they've really gotten after it. There's definitely a different way they approach physical run game here.
On 2nd and 7, 3 wideouts to his right. There's more movement up front as Nix moved across, but Bell showing that long arm down the field, incomplete. He wanted LaColton Bester, and a flag comes in.
The trailing ref from way behind threw the flag, and first of all, this ball was thrown with way too much air under it. It was underthrown. Bester had clearly beaten Bennett Jackson. Nix almost jumps off sides. It was way too high. You've got to throw this ball out front. You got a chance.
Defense.
And now the problem is Bennett Jackson doesn't identify the football.
Automatic first down.
His back is to the football. Clear contact there. LaColton Bester, whose nickname is Scuba.
I knew you were going to get that in there, and early.
I loved it. I said, why is he Scuba, when I was at practice on Tuesday, and they looked at me like I was dumb. They was like, well, that's his hometown, duh.
From Scuba, Mississippi.
Like, I should have known that.
You know what the population of Scuba is? 700. Talk about a small town. About 2.5 square miles.
Yeah,
Scuba, Mississippi.
Everybody's nickname is Scuba.
Put it on your destination journey. 1st and 10. And this is complete to Shepard. Shepard with another good gain.
And that's what I've been waiting. That's how they started the game here, trying to attack the perimeter with their speed. Bubble screens, quick jet handoffs. They've got to get back to that. Jalen Saunders did a nice job there in the block.
Gain of 10. And 1st and 10. Ball at the 48. Again, Oklahoma with a quick couple of scores less than 3 minutes into the game.
See, the only running back is right here, and there's 4 wide receivers. That's called a 10 alignment. 1 back, no tight ends, 4 wide receivers.
Damian Williams in motion. They fake it to him, and Bell keeps it into Notre Dame territory.
It's a big boy, isn't it? I mean, You think the thing is stocked, and I thought Danny Fox, the linebacker, did a nice job staying home and playing his responsibility. But when that big dude at 6'6", 252 drops his shoulder pad level and pushes the pocket, I mean, look at his size.
He's just, you know, if you compare him to like Ben Roethlisberger, the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's just a shade
You really
shorter.
didn't go there, did you?
Not only physical comparisons, just physical.
I would rather go with Tebow, and I did this earlier with the Notre Dame backup Hendricks, but the thickness and the size, I think the way they run their offense, it's a little bit more like that.
Is Tebow 6'6"? 2nd and 4. Bell to Shepard close to the first down. That'll bring up 3rd down.
I don't care about his height. This kid's 245. I mean, Tebow's 245. This kid's 252. You try to tackle it, Danny.
He was so disappointed that he was not named a starter after backing up Landry Jones the last couple of years. They gave it to Trevor Knight, a redshirt freshman who's more of a runner than a thrower. But Knight just didn't get the job in the passing game done. Bruised his knee, and Bell took over a couple of weeks ago.
I think it had a lot more to do with red zone turnovers against West Virginia than anything else.
So on 3rd and 2, Notre Dame crowd waking up.
Here they come.
And Bell slings it out to Brennan Clay, and it's very close to the first down. They're going to mark it short, I believe. Kavari Russell.
Nice tackle by Russell, which is what you have to do when you're the field corner and you've got a tackle on the edge right like that.
It is 4th down.
Wow, and this is no man's land. You would anticipate them going for it here. Can't kick a field goal. The punt only picks you up a few yards. One of the rare times you're going to see an Oklahoma tight end. Number 82, Brennan Green, comes in the game.
The big package here by Oklahoma. A familiar spot for the Belldozer.
Down to 6, 5, 4. They're going to have to call a timeout here.
And it gets down there, and
they're going to punt. I guess they're going to punt. Did they call a timeout?
They called a timeout.
Yeah.
So we saw him just kind of settle for the penalty earlier in the game. They called a timeout with 9:16 left in the second. Oklahoma with a 4th and 1 coming up. Blake Bell and the Oklahoma Sooner offense at the Notre Dame 42, going for it here on 4th and 1.
Yeah, this has got to be the old school Belldozer package, some kind of quarterback run.
There's Trey Millard in front of him, and he's going to doze the way, but he's going to be short. Blake Bell comes up short, and Notre Dame is going to take over.
I told you, 33 takes you to the football. Trey Millard, they put him in motion and run right behind him.
Unless he gets some really favorable spot. Nope, there's the indication. The Irish take over on downs.
Here's Millard in motion. That's the point of attack. Great job by Notre Dame at the point of attack. I think it was Ishaq Williams is involved. Tuitt was involved. Nix right over here is just a great job.
And that was the play that used to be almost an automatic pickup for the Belldozer and the Sooners. But Notre Dame digs in, takes over at its own 43-yard line with just more than 9 minutes left.
Wow.
So the Irish with another kind of momentum changer here.
That's a huge play for Notre Dame. They've stemmed the tide. They've identified an ability to run the football. Now they feel like they're starting to take over.
Reese to pass on first down.
Can't miss that.
And he wanted Colston. And he threw a couple off the mark last week. They were much longer pass plays, but that was a clear miss.
They identified an overload to Tommy Reese's left side, and they got it blocked, which gave him a free look on the right side with a really talented tailback in the flat. Left one on the field there.
On 2nd and 10, Atkinson with good yardage into Oklahoma territory, close to a first down before Quentin Hayes finally brings him down. And Andrew Hendricks has checked back into the game on 3rd and short. And again, Hendricks joined there by Cam McDaniel in the backfield. So
this is the Notre Dame version of the Belldozer. So we've got to come up with a nickname for Hendricks.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
The Hendozer. and you know, twin number 33s. We've got Millard for Oklahoma, and obviously we've got Cam McDaniel for Notre Dame.
And here is Hendricks.
Same play.
Looking for the edge. Has the first down.
Dan McDaniel's in there. Why? Because he's such a tough kid, and he'll block the edge aggressively. Did a nice job on the safety. Gabe Lynn, number 9.
So Tommy Reese back in this kind of quarterback shuffle for Brian Kelly on 1st and 10.
Now I like the matchup at the bottom of the field right now. Chris Brown all by himself, one-on-one. Get it out to him. Corner off 10 yards. No safety can help you from the inside.
Keep it on the ground to Atkinson, who's gaining some pretty good yards today.
Yeah, Troy Nicholas is winning at the point of attack in the run game. They go with 2 tight ends there.
Frank Shannon brought him down, but not after a gain of 6 for Atkinson.
Zach Martin drives his guy 5 yards down the field. Nicholas does a great job. Koyak does a job. And then the explosion of Atkinson.
So Notre Dame having a much better ground game this week, as Carlisle is in there on 2nd down. Got 108 yards already on the ground. That is more than they had all last week against Michigan State. Reese standing in the pocket, and he's got his first one to Troy Nicholas for a 1st down. The big tight end covered by Gabe Lynn. Nicholas with a gain of 14.
And it's 6'7", 260. Watch him come down, and he's going to break out. I think you've got to utilize his size, and I like the fact that he used his own hands to disengage from Gabe Lynn. And one of the problems I think Nicholas has had as a route runner is he saw an awful lot of Tyler Eifert last year. Eifert was a finesse guy with more speed. What this kid has to do is take advantage of his attributes, size and strength.
10th reception for Nicholas on the season, and back in is Hendricks.
See the 2 tight ends at the bottom of the screen.
This time Hendricks in on 1st and 10, and whistles come in, flags come in. We got more movement.
Snap infraction.
Yeah.
Number 72. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
So we had a little butt roll and maybe even his hand moving on Nick Martin.
Nick Martin, the younger brother of left tackle Zach Martin.
I still think that's so cool. The fact that Zach stayed his 5th year when he would have been a fairly highly drafted kid last year, wanted to play and start on the same offensive line as his younger brother.
But the younger brother backs him up. 5 at his 1st at 15. And here goes Hendricks again, bowling his way up inside the 25. Frank Shannon brings him down for Oklahoma, gain of 5.
And what this is just power football. It's Notre Dame saying, listen, we're 310 plus across the front, and your 2 defensive tackles and defensive ends are only 263 and 261. We're bigger and stronger, and we're going to impose our will on you. And I think it's the perfect game plan. Oklahoma's offense is on the sideline. Notre Dame finally running the football.
And Tommy Reese is back in on 2nd and 10. Play action. Reese going to the goal line, and that one was almost picked off. Zach Sanchez was back there. Tavares Daniels, the intended receiver.
There's a disconnect between the quarterback and the receiver here. It's one-on-one. It's the perfect throw. Daniels goes inside and tries to stack the corner, meaning get in front of the corner so he can't come over top. But Tommy Reese throws it back shoulder. Quarterback and wide receiver on a disconnect, and Oklahoma almost makes a play.
3rd and 10 now.
You're in field goal range here.
Reese with time across the middle. Ball is up in the air again, and it's picked off by Julian Wilson. 3rd interception.
Can't throw that football.
For Reese.
Ronnie Stanley did a great job picking up a blitz, but man, that's 3 points off the board.
Irish were on the move before another one gets off the fingertips and back into Oklahoma's possession. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Verizon. Never be without football with NFL Mobile. By Coke Zero, reminding you to enjoy everything this football season. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. and by Cadillac. So Oklahoma taking over on its 3rd interception of the game. It'll begin this drive from its own 12.
Yeah, and there were really 2 problems on this play. One was a lack of spacing with the wide receivers down here. Watch how close they end up down the field. DeVaris Daniels, T.J. Jones. There are 3 white shirts on the 2, and I hate the decision in the throw by Tommy Rees. I think he was trying to throw it for T.J. Jones, and Sanchez does a real nice job getting a piece of the ball, and then the interception by Julian Wilson.
3rd Notre Dame turnover, the interception. First 2 resulted in Sooner touchdowns. Bell on the run.
Wow, see him push. It looked like there was nothing there. Now there's a flag down late. Konashwenke's helmet is off.
Konashwenke has been filling in a starting role for Sheldon Day on the Notre Dame defense. Day still out with a high ankle sprain.
And Bell pushed that pile about 4 or 5 yards, didn't he? Looked like there was nothing there.
Personal foul, number 96. By rule, after the player's helmet came off, he continued to participate in the play. Therefore, it's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
Wow, that is so hard. I mean, I don't care how the helmet comes off, but it's counterintuitive. Right there, it's counterintuitive for any football player to not continue to play football. And I understand the safety behind it, and I applaud it, but it's so difficult. All of a sudden, the ball's coming towards him, and without his helmet, he just intuitively goes after it.
And all of a sudden, the ball is up to the 31 with a penalty. 5 minutes remaining in the opening half. Brennan Clay battering his way up for good yardage. He had a big game against West Virginia in the 2nd game for Oklahoma when he rushed for 170 yards. He gets 8 there.
Yeah, Darrell Williams, the right tackle, collapsed down that side of the line and allowed him to cut it behind him. It was really a good block.
Clock running close to the 4.5 minute mark in the opening half. 2nd and 2. And this is Clay for the first down. Clock stops, 4:21 left on a gain of 6. Jarrett Grace up there with his 2nd straight start for Notre Dame. Leading tackler for the Irish coming in.
The 3 inside linebackers, Grace, Calabrese, and Fox, who share 2 positions, have a total of 81 tackles between them, and they have the most of anybody on the team.
Bell fakes the throw and just runs it right up the middle, as if daring that big Notre Dame defensive front to stop him.
Look, this thing's getting physical now on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And Dan, I told you when I was in Norman on Tuesday, I thought there was a real edge about the coaching staff and the players because they felt like they got pushed around a little bit physically last year in Norman, Oklahoma. And they're out to prove that not only do they have team speed, but they have some physicality and toughness.
And that score at 30-13 was a lot closer than that would indicate last year. A couple of late scores for Notre Dame and plays that went big their way enabled them to get out ahead. 2nd and 8. Bell nearly throws an interception as Jarrett Grace had a good shot at it.
It hit Jarrett Grace right in his leg. I think I called him Mark Grace earlier today, who plays baseball. If he had a big mitt here, he might have caught it. But good pass protection. Bell stares it down. The ball gets not even close to Saunders. And that's my issue again with Blake Bell. He's got to be more consistent with his accuracy.
3rd and 8 for Bell.
He's got an opportunity if he wants to take it out to Scuba up top. Man-to-man coverage, they're not going to have any help on Scuba.
Play clock gets down to 1 before they get it off. Bell in trouble, scrambles out, and he's got the first down. Close to the Irish 40, Bennett Jackson finally bringing the big QB down, and a big 3rd down play and a gain of 13 for Bell.
Yeah, there was a single high safety, meaning there was man coverage everywhere, and he looked initially, watch him look to his right. Nix gets a little push, so he steps into the pocket, and you're not going to see this kid slide. He's going to get as many yards as he can, and he's going to attack defenders. Okay, here's what you could call an inverted wishbone. It's just really the pistol formation with blockers on either side.
And Bell gives it to Damian Williams. Tries to go right up the middle. As we continue with Blake Bell on the drive here, let's send it down to Alex.
Well, Dan, his teammates call him an incredibly competitive kid, and people were very excited when he got the starting job in that locker room because of that competitiveness. Last game he played against Tulsa, and where he passed the ball like crazy, he was awarded the game ball after that. Bob Stoops told me right before this game that he has the physical presence that you guys see, and he likes the way that he throws the ball. This kid certainly has a lot of potential.
And Bell on 2nd down and 8. And a quick hit there to Trey Miller, the do-it-all back for Oklahoma, who will line up in a multiple position formations for Oklahoma. Gain of 6.
One of my favorite players in the country this year is Trey Miller. And you're talking about a kid that's 6'2", 253 pounds. He lines up with fullback, in the slot, at tight end. He's also their best special teams player. When I've talked to NFL scouts about him, you would think, okay, how much value does he have? You don't see his name show up in stat sheets, but he's got 2nd and 3rd round grades from NFL teams because of that versatility.
Big 3rd down play here for Oklahoma. 3rd and 2. Bell's going to try to pass for it, and he's going to get the 1st down to Jalen Saunders.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Grace who didn't expand, but Miller took 2 defenders to the flat with him, and it was an easy one just for Saunders to sit it down. And a good drive here by Oklahoma.
And the Sooners hurry it up to the line here. Less than a minute left in the opening half. Oklahoma with a 14-7 lead. Bell still looking downfield, going to the end zone, and wide open for the touchdown is Colton Bester.
It's interesting. I was watching our guy Scuba from the very beginning, and he ran a route in here looking for the football. When he didn't get it, very alertly, he said, no, okay, I'm going to go to the back corner of the end zone. Bennett Jackson let his eyes get in the wrong place. If you're playing man coverage, you can't be cheating. Started off to one side, comes all the way back to his left. Bennett Jackson had poor eye discipline, and Scuba took advantage.
He waited and waited and waited, and it finally paid off with another scoring strike to Scuba in front of 80,000 plus at Notre Dame Stadium. Oklahoma 21, Notre Dame 7. Well, live from New York, it's Saturday night with host Tina Fey and musical guest Arcade Fire. Saturday Night Live premieres later tonight on NBC. All new season there, live show tonight. Oklahoma scoring drive, its latest. Bester's 26-yard reception caps off a 10-play, 88-yard drive, as Notre Dame has been hurt big time by the turnovers today.
You hit it exactly right. 3 interceptions, what, a pick 6, led to a touchdown, and then took points off the board for Notre Dame, and then they drove the other way and scored.
Atkinson is going to take a knee with 42 seconds left in the half. Irish trail by 14. Oklahoma off another turnover. Gains back the momentum from Notre Dame. Approaching the end of the half, Oklahoma up 21-7. A reminder coming up, it's the Discover Card halftime report. Jimmy Roberts in the studio. And of all the scores and highlights from around the world of college football, then Liam McHugh, Doug Flutie, Hines Ward down in the field breaking down this first half and looking ahead to the big Sunday night game in Atlanta between the Patriots and the Falcons. So Notre Dame just going to take a knee here and run out the final few seconds of this second quarter.
You know, I thought it was pretty cool that Blake Bell, in his first road start, was able to be patient on that last touchdown. Look at him from behind. This is his first road start. He's breaking to his right, plants his feet, trusts his wide receiver Bester, who works back to the corner of the end zone. And that's a situation where you could see a young quarterback kind of get confused and impatient, and I was impressed by that.
He's been pretty efficient in the passing game. He's not
real accurate.
Total in the yards like he did a couple of weeks ago when he broke Sam Bradford's debut for an Oklahoma quarterback with the most passing yards. When he lit up Tulsa for 400 plus, he's got 102 yards today, 12 of 16. So we've reached the half here with Oklahoma up 21-7, and on the strength of the turnovers by Notre Dame, the Sooners have built up this 14-point lead. Let's go down to Alex.
So, Coach, a number of big plays that hurt you in the first half. Which one of those is the most frustrating for you?
Well, all of them. 3 turnovers. Obviously all of them, turned into points, one way or the other. So, again, we knew coming in, if you turn the football over against any good competition, you're gonna pay for it. And the shame about it is that our defense has played great, and we've take the turnovers out of the game, but that's why you got to take care of the football.
You came into this game with the goal of running the football. You've been able to do that fairly well. Has Andrew Hendricks helped open that up for you?
No, I think it's been a little bit of both. I think our offensive line has done a nice job, and I think mixing it up a little bit is certainly helped. But again, it doesn't really matter if you turn the football over as many times. Now we got a good ball game here. They mounted one drive. Our defense has played great. We'll obviously clean up the turnovers in the second half. We've got a great chance to win the ball game.
All right, Coach, thank you. And Dan, of course, Coach Kelly telling us this game is a big measuring stick for this team.
Certainly is for both teams. And Oklahoma would love to come out of here with a win on the road against Notre Dame. They lead at 21-7. Discover Card halftime report comes your way next as we go to Jimmy Roberts in the studio. On this beautiful Saturday in South Bend, Oklahoma up on the Fighting Irish 21-7, and they had played pretty mistake-free football the first 4 games of the season. Notre Dame had, Mike, until today. 3 turnovers where the Oklahoma Sooners have turned into touchdowns.
Yeah, I thought Oklahoma's team speed, both sides of the line of scrimmage, were evident. I thought Notre Dame did a pretty good job getting the thing stabilized with their run game, but like you said, they had the bottom line. 3 turnovers turned into 21 points.
And that brings us to Scott Trade value rising and the Oklahoma defense on the rise in that first half.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Early in the game, missed blocking assignment. Stryker pops the ball up in the air. Corey Nelson picks it off. It's a pick 6, and Oklahoma's up 7-0. Next drive, off T.J. Jones' hand. Tip drill. Really nice job by Frank Shannon picking it off. Damian Williams attacking the perimeter with speed. Touchdown. Again, this is a ball I didn't like from Tommy Rees. Receivers were congregated too closely together. There's a bad pick, and then look at this. This took 5 or 6 seconds. Really nice job by LaColton Bester breaking the route, going back to the corner of the end zone, and that's your Scott Trade value rising.
And that brings us to a look at our quarterback comparison brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company. The numbers by Blake Bell, again in his first collegiate start on the road. And Tommy Rees, who threw the 3 interceptions. Blake Bell has been involved in the rushing attack, certainly for Oklahoma. But right now it's the Sooners up 21-7. And as always throughout the season, we'll take a look at many of the unique things that Notre Dame students and professors are engaged in off the field. Here now, our latest installment.
Or to play for Notre Dame. It's something that you have to really experience for yourself.
Playing for Oklahoma means everything, basically. It means tradition.
The Notre Dame tradition motivates me all the time.
Wow, Tommy Rees' 3rd interception. So the Irish fighting their way right back in this.
The Sooners, Norman, Oklahoma.
Crimson and cream.
Fighting Irish,
Blue and gold.
South Bend, Indiana. You show people who we're talking about.
So if Notre Dame is going to continue its dominance in this series, they're going to have to come back to do it. The points off the turnovers, again, that is the story of the first half. All 3 touchdowns coming off the interceptions by Notre Dame that Tommy Rees threw in the opening half. And so Bob Stoops, who has a very good record when leading at the half, he's 135-9 when his teams have led at the half, including 36 consecutive wins when his team has a halftime lead. So those are the odds that Brian Kelly, Tommy Rees and company are going to have to overcome here in the second half. As as Oklahoma will get the football first. Roy Finch will bring it out for the Sooners, and a good special teams play there made at about the 10-yard line. James Onwalu, the true freshman, with a beautiful play. Let's send it down to Alex.
So Dan, Bob Stoops speaking a little bit less about the turnovers and more about third down stops. He says that will be a key for his defense in the second half of this football game. He said third downs are also important for his offense. They need to do a better job of it, he says, in the second half. He says the number one thing that he focused on at halftime was talking to his team about turnovers and their need to limit them. They've had a clean first half. He expects them to have a clean second half and says that will be the key to this game. Remember, this quarterback just making his second first road start.
And so here is Blake Bell to begin the second half from the 12-yard line. And the quick throw, and that is complete to Saunders. And a good game for Oklahoma to start things off.
Yeah, and I like the play. You have a soft corner, you're backed up towards your own end zone. Why not just play pitch and catch?
Speaking of Bob Stoops, he also has an excellent record. When a team beats him during the course of a year, he's won the last 8 games the following year against that team. And we all remember Notre Dame keeping that perfect season alive at 8-0 last year in Norman. And so here are the Sooners again with Roy Finch. So a good start for Oklahoma. Finch with a gain of 5 there.
Attacking the perimeter again.
Lewis
Miller
Nix down.
comes out of the game for Oklahoma, and Nix down for Notre Dame.
Nix involved with that big marquee matchup that we talked about earlier in the game with Gabe Eichert, the Oklahoma center.
And Oklahoma did a lot of things to make sure it wasn't Eichert and Nix one-on-one, and that's part of good scheming. And a lot of it had to do with cutting Nix. And let's see at the end. Here goes Nix in late on the tackle.
There is Nix on the
Looks
right.
like the left leg there kind of went hyperextended.
So a lot of concern for Lewis Nix, who's still on the ground. We'll take a timeout from Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz and the all-new CLA. By Scott Trade. See for yourself why investors are saying I'm with Scott Trade. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% on car insurance. So the big All-American nose guard Lewis Nix on the sidelines as Oklahoma continues this first series of the second half. Second down and 5, ball on their own 27. Tyler Stockton, number 92, in there in his place. Oklahoma keeps it on the ground. Short of the first down is Brennan Clay. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
Good hit by Carlo Calabrese. Who would have thunk, Danny, that here we are and this front 3 from Notre Dame that I thought could be maybe the best in the country. Nix is out. Sheldon Day didn't play. So now you're talking about Tuitt, Schwenke, and Stockton.
Well, Irish Chocolate has checked back in to the game. So Lewis Nix just out for 1 play on 3rd and short. And Bell's going to keep it. And he is close to the first down. They might have stopped him. Indeed, Carlo Calabrese was in there to bring the big QB down. Short of the first down.
And he does a great job of staying home. There's Calabrese. Just a misstep here, and then watch him fly to it. This is called reading your keys. 1 step, now he understands what's happening, flashes, and brings the 252-pounder down. Heck of a job by Calabrese.
Calabrese tied for the team high 8 tackles last week. Kelly called it one of his better games of his career. And that was a huge stop by Calabrese. So Oklahoma in punt formation. Barnett's punt. And a fair catch called by T.J. Jones back at the Notre Dame 20 after a 49-yard punt. The Irish will take over for the first time in this second half. Time for the Mercedes-Benz top performances. And when Oklahoma and Notre Dame met in 1957, the Sooners were riding that amazing NCAA record 47-game winning streak. Late in the game, Dick Lynch took the pitch from Bob Williams, ran around the right end for the only score of the game. Less than a minute to play. Williams, who doubled as a safety on defense, picks off a pass in the end zone, sealing the victory, as Oklahoma not only had that 47-game winning streak, which still is the best standing today, it suffered its first shutout in 123 games. So Notre Dame from its own 20. And Tommy Rees to start things off on the ground with George Atkinson, and he's got great speed, one man to beat. They're not going to get him, and Atkinson is going to go the distance. Well, that's a pretty good way to start off the half if you're a Notre Dame fan, as Atkinson, who's got that blinding speed, just reeled off an 80-yard run.
Top of the show, Danny, we said that they've got to get Carlisle and Atkinson involved with their speed. And I think because of their size advantage, they're better downhill.
So just like that, Notre Dame comes out on its first play in the second half. It makes it 21-14 on George Atkinson's 80-yard scamper. Gabe Lynn of Oklahoma had no chance to catch him. And the Irish within 7. 12:30 in the third. Well, Sunday night is football night. Through in Atlanta for America's Game of the Week. The Patriots and Tom Brady taking on the Falcons. Sunday night football. Bob Costas hosts Football Night in America live from Atlanta. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on NBC. So the green Irish clad fans waking up here after George Atkinson's longest career run from scrimmage. 80 yards. Puts him over the 100-yard mark. And Notre Dame has cut into the lead, 21-14. Blake Bell and the Oklahoma Sooner offense ready to attack again. That's that kind of home run speed that Brian Kelly talks of when he talks about George Atkinson. And we just saw it there. Brunza kicks off. And this is Trey Franks, number 32, the return man this time for the Sooners. And Franks heads up the sideline before Brunza, the kicker, makes the tackle just short of midfield.
And Dan, we've talked all day about downhill running, trying to get a gash. Now, Zach Martin gets a ton of credit, and he should, and he's fine here. But watch Chris Watt get on this backer, and he's going to generate the hole that he can run through. He gets on the backer, drives him out of the way. Martin does a great job on his block, and at this point, nobody's going to catch George Atkinson. From behind, he does a great job on Frank Shannon, number 20, and a team that's been averaging just 114 yards a game already has 192 rushing today.
80 right there for Atkinson. As Blake Bell in Oklahoma starts off at their own 48, good field position. Bell stares downfield, wide open, inside the 30. Big hit by Bennett Jackson on Saunders.
I wonder if that's a catch and a fumble, which is what Oklahoma wants. But a really nice job by the receiver, Saunders. Jalen Saunders takes Kavari Russell all the way inside, turns him around, and comes back. It's Bennett Jackson, excuse me, and there's the hit.
Just separates him.
Yep. And I don't think he gets both feet down an element of time. That's definitely an incomplete pass. Good
Great
job
play.
by Bennett Jackson.
Great play by one of the tri-captains, Bennett Jackson. So Bell wheels on 2nd and 10. Sterling Shepard is short of the first down. Gain of 9. And Oklahoma hurrying up to the line.
Notre Dame has had trouble with contain on that bootleg all game long.
Well, now Bell waiting for his personnel to gather and looking to the sidelines. 2 of 6 on third down conversions thus far today, as the ball is at the 44-yard line. Notre Dame. Oklahoma trying to answer the quick strike of Atkinson and Notre Dame. This is Damian Williams looking for the first down, and a great second effort to get it. Elijah Shoemate brings him down for the Irish.
Really been fun watching this Oklahoma run game. We'll come back in here and try and get the seal block. Ultimately, Shoemate 22 will flash when Bennett Jackson misses the tackle and Shoemate cleans it up. This is like watching a 1950s Oklahoma Bud Wilkinson team in the single wing. It really is. What goes around comes around in football.
So the Sooners with a fresh set of downs, and Bell goes to work on the wing to Williams again, and he dances his way along the sideline for another first down. Matthias Farley finally brings him out after a gain of 17.
Attack the perimeter, this time with motion. No adjustment by Notre Dame. Damian Williams, the tailback, went in motion. Nobody went with him. See, 26 right here went that way. No adjustment whatsoever. They outflanked the perimeter defense. Big play.
Oklahoma already at the Notre Dame 24. Bell pumped it. Still has time. He's going to run it out. And he is going to slide in for another first down.
I didn't expect to slide.
Yeah, the Belldozers don't slide, do they?
Dozers don't slide. It's a DDS rule. Dozers don't slide. Now, if his first look isn't there, this is what he's going to do. He was looking for a post corner route that wasn't there. And I applaud that, because at this point he hasn't even come close to an interception or a fumble, and he's played a clean, efficient game.
Already 44 yards rushing for Bell. A big pickup there. And another quick hit to Saunders. So Oklahoma has this Notre Dame defense on its heels. A little mix of everything here.
Yeah, they're attacking the perimeter again, and I'm telling you, this Gabe Eichert, Lewis Nix battle in the middle has been fun to watch.
Nix just took that one play off, but has been back in since. There he is. Second down and 5 from the Irish 9. And this is Williams moving the pile close to the first down. Will bring up third and short.
Notre Dame bring Tuitt back into the game. Obviously a one-possession game now, Dan.
There is Tuitt. There's two big bodies, 322 and 350 for Lewis Nix up front for Notre Dame, trying to stop this Oklahoma drive. Call it 3rd and 2. And Bell keeping it, loses some ground, and Tuitt was back there. Loss of 3, Stephon Tuitt.
Adam Shedd just goes right for the second level. Tuitt splits between the two of them. I don't know why Shedd went up to the second level, and obviously a busted assignment there.
And so that'll bring out the field goal unit for Oklahoma. Michael Honeycutt in to attempt a 27-yarder. And Honeycutt pushes it through, so Oklahoma comes out with an impressive drive. Ends in a field goal. The lead is 10 with 8:11 left in the third. Just a beautiful 80-degree day here in South Bend. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything we've learned making tires that go the distance inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Sooners with a field goal, taking a 24-14 lead over Notre Dame. Sooners trying to remain unbeaten. Notre Dame trying to improve a 3-1 record. And off their first offensive series of the second half, Atkinson took it the distance, and he waits back for Hodgson's kick.
I'd kick it right if I'm Oklahoma. I don't want him touching it.
He's been doing these line drive kicks, and that'll be good enough to start Notre Dame off at the 25. What about this big matchup up front?
I think whenever you've got a 350-pound nose tackle that's an All-American, you can't just allow your center one-on-one blocks all day. That doesn't work. Lewis Nix is too good. So what do? Use your quickness to cut him. That's number one. Secondly, scheme. Watch Trey Millard cut him. He moves with the center, Eichert, then he gets cut by Millard from the backside. And finally, quarterback draw. Let's double team him. So Nix has seen a variety of fronts and moves, but all of it is schemed to protect the center from having to stay one-on-one with that 350-pound behemoth.
So Reese begins this drive with Atkinson again. And he hurdles his way up close to the 30. Frank Shannon had an interception earlier in the game. Makes the stop. Let's check in again with Alex.
So Dan, this Oklahoma team was terrorized by Lewis Nix last year, and that had their center Gabe Eichert coming into this game saying it was a great personal challenge to go up Lewis Nix, which he calls the best player that he's played against in college. Says he's extremely hard to move, that he plays with great strength, and is maybe underrated in the type of explosion that he gets. Very talented. Two players, both of them, I would say, very talented.
Get another look at that matchup coming up. Second down, Reese is still on his feet, but finally goes down at about the 22. So Reese loses 5 going down. Matt Diamond was back there, among other Sooners.
Notre Dame front having trouble blocking a variety of stunts and blitzes. That time, Corey Nelson, the outside linebacker, will come off the edge this way as everybody heads down. Stanley blocks down. Nelson comes free. Tommy Reese does a good job just getting rid of the first guy, but certainly not nimble enough to get away from Jordan Phillips.
So the big loss brings up 3rd down and 12. Ball back at the 23 of Notre Dame. More pressure from the left edge. Reese steps up, avoids it, incomplete, and that'll bring up 4th down and the punting unit intended for Will Fuller.
4-man pressure handled fairly well. Ball thrown behind Fuller. I think we got to remind Alex that Gabe Eichert did say that Von Miller was pretty good. Played against him from Texas A&M, and Phil Taylor from Baylor, another first-round pick now with the Cleveland Browns. But he did put Lewis Nix right in that category, which is wonderful company.
Big respect for Lewis Nix. And so a chance for Oklahoma to get some decent field position. Grinza got the game ball last week with a couple of late punts, 3 in fact, in the game against Michigan State as a flag comes in. So a punter got the game ball last week despite having a punt blocked and missing a field goal.
Punt block was not his problem.
That's right.
Right, and then he just completely flipped the field at a critical part of the game. I liked it. Punters are people too, you know.
They have rights?
Apparently.
Personal foul, receiving team. Number 13 hit a player while he was out of bounds. It'll be a 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Ahmad Thomas, I believe.
Look in the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, once that gunner's out of bounds, you got to leave him alone.
Yep. So the penalty on Ahmad Thomas, and we'll be right back with the Sooners leading by 10. Tuesday, a new NHL season begins. The Capitals facing off against the defending Stanley Cup champion Blackhawks. Then it's the Sabres and the Red Wings in the premiere of Wednesday night rivalry. A new NHL season begins Tuesday night on the NBC Sports Network. Not exactly hockey weather here today at Notre Dame Stadium. A hot day. And Oklahoma taken over at its own 33. Leading 24-14. As Bell looks deep downfield, and Saunders was the man he wanted. Kivari Russell was on him.
And he gets hit as he's throwing this. Ball went wild on him. It's a play action. He's looking for a post corner. From this side comes pressure just as he's getting rid of the football. Prince Shembo. They're looking for the corner route. They beat Russell cleanly, but Shembo disrupts it.
There's a hit by Shembo as Bell was limping just after the play, but he's still in there on 2nd and 10. And he's going to run it. And he's got the first down. So Bell with that big body again picking it up. Gain of 11. Jalen Smith with the stop. And Bell getting up slowly again.
He's going down. Now remember, the backup quarterback, who initially was the starting quarterback for the first 2 games, Trevor Knight. He averaged over 7 yards per carry in his first couple games, but he was anemic in the pass game at 44%. Lost his job to Bell, but he's a logical guy, especially the way this game's being managed right now. It's become a run game for the quarterback.
So they're still working on Bell, and Trevor Knight, the redshirt freshman from San Antonio, who has been billed the new mobile quarterback for Oklahoma. Look at his numbers against Louisiana Monroe. He also started the second game against West Virginia. And Trevor Knight, his time might have come again here, as they're still working on Blake.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a cramp. The way they're working him right now, it's a cramp, which is good news for both, obviously, Bell and for Oklahoma fans.
So with 6:18 left here in the third, and Blake Bell still being worked out there. You really think that if Bell is not able to go, Mike, that Trevor Knight, who again, as you mentioned, had some problems in the passing game in the first few games for Oklahoma, is ready to go and might be okay, huh?
I don't know if he's ready to go, but I think he's the guy. I mean, it's next man up. There's not a whole lot of choices, and the fact that he got some work the first 2 weeks of the season, I think, helps him come out on the road in this kind of environment.
Now, there was a lot of clamoring for him. I mean, people thought that Blake Bell was going to be the guy, and no one was more disappointed than Blake Bell when Knight was named the starter. Let's take a look at the hit that Bell took a couple of plays ago. Prince Shumbo coming in there, and you can see immediately pointing to his left leg.
Stayed in the game and ran the ball effectively.
Yeah, picked up a nice first down, and Bell now being helped off the field.
Going towards the locker room, not to the bench, and that's a really bad sign.
He's taking the long walk.
I'm hoping that it's for some intravenous fluids and nothing else.
Yeah,
that's my hope
just
for him.
Really quickening the gait there as if to try to loosen himself up.
I'm hoping that's what it is. Get some fluids in him so he won't cramp up and right back out.
So he's joined by all sorts of Sooner personnel. He goes underneath the tunnel. And here is Trevor Knight, 6'1", 201-pounder from San Antonio. Again, the starter to start the season for Oklahoma. And he keeps it. This is what he does best, is run it. And Trevor Knight on his very first play of the game gets huge yardage.
Yep.
30 yards before Matthias Farley stops him.
I mean, it's a huge alert, and that was a quarterback run all the way because the backup fullback, Ripkowski, blocked the contain. Watch what happens here. Excuse me, right there at the point of attack. It's not Ripkowski, it's Millard as usual. That was quarterback keep all the way.
No surprise for a guy like Knight, who rushed for 103 yards in the opener against Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, his comfort level is running it, not so much throwing it.
This time he hands it off to Clay. And Clay with another big gain. Council with the stop. Will bring up 2nd down and 3.
And ironically, the change of pace here, it's the same offense, but this kid's a quicker runner than the bigger Bell.
There was even some folks in Norman using the Johnny Manziel comparison. Now that's a little early, but
kind of like you going to Ben Roethlisberger with
that was
Blake Bell.
That was just a physical thing.
When it shows up
maybe
on Twitter.
Maybe by the end of the game you might get over it. But anyway, on 2nd and 3, Knight at the controls. And he gives it to Clay, and Clay has the first down. He's inside the 10 and the 5, or it'll be 1st and goal, Oklahoma.
Well, I'll tell you, Millard again at the point. Also Bronson Irwin. And they're up and ready to go again. Millard, 33, gets a key block.
First and goal from the 4. It's Clay. And this time he's pushed back, led by Jalen Smith, the first freshman to start at outside linebacker for Notre Dame in some 18 years. Got a flag on the play.
Offside. Defense. Number 12. First down.
I think they got that
Did he
number
say
wrong.
number 12?
I believe he did. That would have been Andrew Hendricks.
And I don't think Hendricks is in there. Is it? In fact,
Butler.
It's Devin Butler, indeed.
The true freshman.
True freshman who got back into the lineup a bit last week.
Yeah, he did.
Freshman from Washington, D.C., called with a penalty. Kind of a high snap, but Knight handles it well. And down just inside the 2 is Clay. Farley up there pushing him back.
Typically getting in this close, offenses try to gap it, which means they stay inside and try to block to their inside gap. That allows a player from the outside, like Farley, to pursue from the backside and make a hit.
Second and goal, and Oklahoma already up by 10. Stoops and the Sooners looking for more here as we approach the 3.5-minute mark in the 3rd. Second and goal. This is Knight doing his thing, and Notre Dame is going to push him out of bounds. Bennett Jackson back there. So a good key play by the Irish defense.
Yeah, Shembo's the guy that forced them to belly out wide. Watch Shembo, who will come into your screen right now. He forces the bounce. Good job from the inside out with the entire Notre Dame defense.
Pushes the ball back to the 8-yard line after the loss of 6. So it's 3rd and goal from back there. Irish just hoping to get out of here, giving up maybe a field goal. And a timeout called by the Sooners.
Now remember, here's the issue for the Sooners. Jay Norvell talking to his quarterback right now. And the issue is this kid, Trevor Knight, is completed 44% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions against very average competition. And he made a couple big mistakes in the red zone against West Virginia, which cost him his job. So here we are in the red zone. Key situation. Do you trust the kid to throw the football? And I'm telling you right now, Notre Dame is going to give them man-to-man on the edges, and they're going to load up on quarterback run.
Saw the co-offensive coordinator there, Jay Norvell. He's down low. Josh Heupel, who won a national championship for Bob Stoops, up top as the other offensive coordinator calling the plays. Finished 2nd in the Heisman balloting that year, but won the national championship.
Take the championship, right?
Yeah, every time. So a big play here for Oklahoma. 3rd and goal from the 8. And the new quarterback in there replacing Blake Bell is Knight.
Oh, they got man-to-man with a freshman linebacker out wide, man-to-man.
Knight throws complete, short of the goal line. Austin Collinsworth is up there, and back they come. The ball is whistled dead. They're calling it down at about the 2 or 3 yard line.
Good job by Collinsworth. See the freshman, number 9 in the slot. They're playing zone now, and Collinsworth does a great job driving up and making a short tackle on the 2 yard line.
So Saunders
Look at
down there.
He's trying to rip it out.
Yep, ball flipped out just afterward.
Hey, that's a really good one-on-one tackle, and that's critical. Nice job by Austin Collins.
So on 4th down, Sooners attempting a 20-yard field goal. Again, here's Honeycutt. And Honeycutt drills it through to increase the Sooner lead to 13, 27-14 Oklahoma with 2:43 left in the 3rd. Well, Thursday, Team USA takes on the international side for the coveted President's Cup. It'll be staged at Muirfield Village. Jack Nicklaus's course. President's Cup begins Thursday, 11:30 Eastern on Golf Channel. Continues Saturday morning at 8 o'clock here on NBC. So Oklahoma with a couple of field goals here, making it 27-14, 2:43 left. And Bob Stoops looking good at the moment to continuing his dominance when his team has been up at the half. Again, 135-9 when his teams have led through the years, 36 straight.
Thought it was pretty cool when he hired his brother 2 years ago as a DC after he got let go at Arizona. Mike Stoops doing a great job, I think. They allowed 9 points a game heading in today. Played extremely well, generating 3 turnovers, which effectively are the difference in this game.
We were talking to Mike, and he was telling us, you know, it's great to be back. It's great to be back near my brother. But we still fight like brothers, and you ought to know a thing or two about that, huh?
Yeah, I'm one of 7, and they're 5 boys, and it's a little bit like the Stoops. We're all safeties, and we all were the best athlete in their family, and there's a lot of arguing that goes around that dinner table.
Hodgson's kick back into the end zone where the Irish will start again from the 25. Well, talk about coaching trees, and the one that comes from Iowa is pretty impressive. Both Stoops, players, coaches there, and it goes on beyond that.
Yeah, there's 4 on both sides. Norvell, the coordinator, Jerry Montgomery, the defensive line coach, and for Notre Dame, Bob Diaco played at Iowa, Bob Elliott, whose father is Bump Elliott, Curry Cooks, and Paul Longo.
And there they were in the pregame, Mike, the Iowa connection between Oklahoma and Notre Dame. You see Bob Diaco in there, third from the left, and Diaco
cool.
shared a story with us about Mike Stoops, who just tortured him on the first day of camp back when he was a freshman, and Mike Stoops was a graduate assistant. This is Atkinson looking for room, bounces it out to the outside and close to the first down. So a good run by Atkinson.
You know, I got a kick out of that story because the way Diaco tells it, in those days, true freshmen reported early. And he was the only true freshman linebacker in camp for 4 days. And the graduate assistant assigned to freshman linebackers was Mike Stoops. And you got a young linebacker coach trying to impress his head coach, and all he did was run Diaco for 4 straight days in the blocking bags.
Second and short. Wow. Atkinson breaking again. And George Atkinson is having himself a game already over the 100-yard mark with that big 80-yard touchdown run. That one good for 14. As Notre Dame and Brian Kelly continue to try to see what emerges from this group of running backs.
And they're one-dimensional right now. I mean, let's face it, they've thrown the ball for 52 yards and they've thrown 3 interceptions. The run game is keeping them somewhat in this game.
11 carries, 143 yards for Atkinson. Notre Dame trailing up by 13. Final minute and a half of the third quarter. They go to Atkinson again, and this time they corral him at midfield. Dominique Alexander among the Sooners. So a career high rushing total for the junior out of Stockton, California.
And in comes Amir Carlisle to give him a break. And again, different body types, but both world-class sprinters.
Carlisle, the transfer from USC, who overcame a couple of injuries that left him on the sideline for so long. So finally getting his time with Notre Dame to start this 2013 season. Second and 8. They go to Carlisle. Tries to fight his way for a yard or two. Charles Tapper up front there for the Sooner defense to make the stop.
Yeah, he did a nice job disengaging from Ronnie Stanley, who I thought had him. He had him covered up. But Tapper disengaged and made the play.
Tapper, a guy that didn't play football until his junior year in high school, and his mentor and trainer said, you got to go out to this high school combine, and he did, and he was seen by Oklahoma assistant, and he ends up in Norman and ends up starting on this front line for the Sooners. 3rd down and 6.
And there was a spirited conversation between Brian Kelly and TJ Jones, which is continuing right now on the sideline. And Brian Kelly was trying to get him adjusted, and TJ kept yelling back at him, trying to understand it. There was a disconnect, and Brian Kelly called a timeout.
So the clock stopped at 22 seconds. And a big call coming up here, 3rd down and 6.
He's talking to Nicholas now. I wonder if there was an illegal formation. He was covering up Nicholas or not. But either way,
Hey,
Kelly's.
the bulldozer is running back onto the field.
Good. Yeah, it really looked like the way they were working on him were cramps. That typically means you go in, get the fluids, and good to see him back out here.
So we'll see if he indeed comes out on Oklahoma's next series. Notre Dame trying to keep this one alive. Tommy Rees, who's been substituted for by Andrew Hendricks a few times in the first half. Feels the pressure, stands in, and is complete for the first down to DeVaris Daniels. And Daniels is inside the 35 for a gain of 14.
This is something they didn't do a lot of last week, and it's man coverage. And one of the ways to beat man coverage is crossing routes. The safety's going to rotate, and then it's just a quick crossing route here. And we always saw last week were a bunch of verticals. And you see the tight stack, you come underneath it, you get a little bit of separation. And that's a good look at DeVaris Daniels finally beating press coverage.
That's his first catch of the game, and he had a pretty quiet week last week against Michigan State. As we're through 3 at Notre Dame Stadium. Oklahoma 27, Notre Dame 14. We'll return to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your NBC local station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC. Oklahoma had the 21-7 lead at the half. Notre Dame came out in the second half with a big 80-yard score by George Atkinson, but the Sooners have added a couple of field goals to take a 27-14 lead here into the 4th quarter, and the Irish on the move at the Sooner 35. Atkinson, who's getting the bulk of the carries, and moving the pile down close to the 30. And there is Bell, who we saw run out. He's continued to be worked on flat on his back. Numbers for Bell, which include 52 yards rushing. And Alex, you're down there. You've been watching all the Belldozer activity.
Yeah, guys, before they took him into the locker room, you saw him there laying on the field, and they seemed to be massaging his calf muscle. He went into the locker room. I've been told that it's probable that they gave him some IVs. You saw him shoot out of the tunnel there. He came running back, immediately grabbed the ball, and started warming up again. So I think we'll see him back in this game.
2nd and 5. Reese on play action. Looking downfield, and wide open is Troy Nicholas for the touchdown.
Boy, is there a bust in that Oklahoma secondary. They pull Chris Watt off the play action. Nicholas is going to line up here and just come down here and out. And what happens is the corner follows the post in. The safety doesn't come over top. There's a bust between that corner and safety. Wide open. Good job by Chris Watt, who pulled out from his backside guard position and protected Tommy Rees.
3rd touchdown catch of the season for Nicholas, and it's a big one. And Brinza's extra point brings the Irish back to within 27-21. Solid drive by Notre Dame. 7 plays, 75 yards, capped off by Troy Nicholas in his latest touchdown catch.
Notre Dame on NBC Sports is brought to you by Shop Your Way. Shop Your Way bonus members can enter for a chance to win a VIP game experience in South Bend. Go to shopyourway.com/Notre Dame game to enter and see official rules.
So Nicholas with the touchdown catch, and a huge game for both programs, keeping their hopes alive in the national championship race. Oklahoma unbeaten, trying to regain a foothold in a series which has been dominated by the Irish. Just into the 4th quarter, 27-21, Sooners lead it. Brinza's kick into the end zone for the touchback. And Blake Bell coming back in to control the Oklahoma offense. It's time now for the Unlimited Update presented by Sprint. There is the turnover story of the first part of the game. Corey Nelson taking it in for the first time. The numbers for Blake Bell and just his first collegiate start on the road, and then the latest touchdown answer by the Irish as Troy Nicholas makes it a 6-point game with 14:10 left. So after being worked on and missing a series, Blake Bell is back in and he passes it complete to Williams, who's close to another first down.
At some point, this Notre Dame defense has got to become aware they're being outflanked by motion. And I know if you're playing zone, you've already got people by definition outside with eyes on quarterback, but you've got to make some adjustments to that.
Williams gets it out to the 35. Still in the ball game. Again, Williams did not play against Tulsa. Suspended for the game. Coach's decision. But he's figured in prominently here, and he gets the first down and a few more after that. Senior out of San Diego, California, picks up the first down.
It was a good job by the right guard that time on big Lewis Nix. Talked about different ways to block Lewis Nix. That time he was in the gap between the center and the guard, and Bronson Irwin did a fine job on him.
Bell goes over the top here to Millard, and another example of Millard who can just do it all. Block for you, carry the ball, and catch it out of the backfield as well, or wherever position he happens to stake out at.
Yeah, he's really a talented kid. It's been an interesting game. Notre Dame dug themselves a hole with those 3 turnovers, yet Oklahoma turned around and gave them an 80-yard touchdown run and then a busted assignment on a 30-yard reception, and we got a heck of a game going.
Second down and 3 from the 46. Bell lets Williams do the work again, and Notre Dame with Stephon Tuitt is there to meet him.
Yeah, Tuitt beats Tyrus Thompson this time cleanly, and we haven't heard a whole lot from Stephon Tuitt, the potential All-American. Here he is right here. Nice job bench pressing Tyrus Thompson. That's what you expect to see with Stephon Tuitt. 6'6", 322 pounds, strength, athleticism. That's the kind of play you want to see.
3rd and 3. Atkinson riling him up on the sideline. Notre Dame looking for a big stop. Bell looking for a first down, and he's got it. And on the loose is Sterling Shepard for the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
Tight bunch set. And Notre Dame's going to bring a little pressure. What's happening? There's a tight bunch set up here. Shepard's in there. Notre Dame's coming from here. Nice job picking up the blitz and then hitting Shepard on the cross. He goes underneath Grace, who's got to force him over top of him. Grace has to see that more quickly, and Shepard flies.
And with the score 33-21, Oklahoma lining up for a 2-pointer here.
Yep. They're going to put the ball in between the midpoint and the hash. And remember, the 2-point conversion team has their choice of anywhere they want between the hashes.
So off of the career-long reception for Shepard. Oklahoma looking to make it a 35-21 14-point lead. Blake Bell used to this kind of situation for sure. Goes to the air, and it's complete to Shepard. So 2 more points, 35-21. Shepard on the touchdown, 54 yards, and Bell to Shepard for the 2 points to make it 35-21 with 12:24 left. Big 3rd down play by Blake Bell to Sterling Shepard, who goes all the way to pull Oklahoma out by 14. A look at today's Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Cold hard facts for Notre Dame with the 3 turnovers, which led to 21 points. Oklahoma has now scored 35 on the latest big play by Sterling Shepard. And there is Blake Bell back on his back again. And again, pretty warm day for the end of September. Temperatures in the 80s. Seen Lewis Nix with his helmet off a number of times out there on the field, just putting it on just before play begins. Hodgson to put it in play again. Atkinson drifts back and lets it go into the end zone. I mentioned Sterling Shepard had the big week a couple of weeks ago against Tulsa, and in his locker before the game he saw a game program which featured himself there and his late father, who also wore number 3 for Oklahoma. He died suddenly of a heart attack while an assistant college football coach. He played on the 1985 Oklahoma national championship team, and Sterling Shepard got a text from his mom right before that game. She said, you know what, I have a feeling you're going to have a big game, and boy did he have one. And he's having another good one here today, just after that big touchdown run to put Oklahoma up 35-21. Also caught the 2-point conversion to make it a 14-point lead for the Sooners. So Tommy Rees going to work here from his own 25, and that's complete to TJ Jones as the Irish try to chip away at this deficit. We mentioned the last time that Oklahoma was here back in 1999. They got a big lead, but Notre Dame overcame a 16-point deficit in the second half to beat Bob Stoops. And that gave Stoops his very first loss as a college head coach. The Oklahoma Sooners came in here back in '99 3-0. So we'll see what kind of scenario the two big Titans have in store for us today. Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Second and short. This is Atkinson.
Ball snapped early by the center. The offensive line wasn't ready. It's a pretty good visual, actually. It's not a penalty, but everybody's in the stands.
That's the bright side of it. If there is something like.
Watch the center snap it, Martin. Everybody's just standing there. Whoops. Uh-oh.
I guess I'll. That's a loss 2 for Atkinson. So that brings up 3rd down and a long 3.
Showing overload blitz to the Notre Dame right.
Reese stands in. The ball is tipped near the line of scrimmage. And that'll bring up 4th down.
I think Corey Nelson, who's had a really good game, he's over the center. They completely destroy the guard. That was Jordan Phillips getting pressure, and then Nelson gets his hands up in a piece.
Nelson was telling us earlier this week that last year's defense just had no leadership. He says it's a much different story this season. And Nelson has been a big example of Oklahoma's resurgence on defense. So Saunders hauls it in, and Oklahoma will begin just short of its 30 when we come back, leading by 14. We talked about it earlier. Bob Stoops' first season as Oklahoma's head coach 14 years ago. They traveled here to South Bend. Notre Dame trailed 30-10 in the 3rd quarter, but scored 24 unanswered points to pull it out 34-30. Notre Dame quarterback Jarius Jackson threw for 276, ran for 107, and had 3 total touchdowns as Notre Dame came back to hand Bob Stoops that loss. He told us earlier, I hope it's a different story today. And his quarterback was Josh Heupel, now his co-offensive coordinator. And so the Sooners trying to avoid the same fate today with Notre Dame trailing by 14, 11-10 left.
Shortly thereafter, they won a national title.
Bell, who's been sidelined and worked on, takes the run. Calabrese is there to meet him for a gain of 3.
Now, there's still plenty of time in this game. You're talking about 11 minutes, and you're talking about a 2-possession game. I give Stoops credit. I like the fact he went for 2. It's late enough in the game now where you want to get that 14-point differential.
So on 2nd and 7, he's got Trey Millard back there with him.
lead the clock just a little bit.
And Miller leads the way, and Bell is short of the first down. Will bring up third down.
You know, we talked about this battle up front, and Gabe Eichert's got to use what he has, which is some quickness. Watch him get to the front side, then flip his hips and use leverage to lock off Nick. So look, see how it turns those hips? That's a win for Eichert, one-on-one against the All-American nose tackle.
Irish defense looking for a win here on third down and 3. Ball at the Oklahoma 36. Bell with time, and almost a one-handed grab there by Brennan Clay, but a flag comes in as Clay was hit hard. Ben Council was back there.
Remember, if a player's defenseless, it doesn't have to be helmet to helmet. If a player is considered defenseless, which I believe Clay was, your forearm, your shoulder, anything above the shoulders of the defenseless player will be considered a penalty. And there are two levels of it.
Foul. Targeting. Number 30. Number 30 is disqualified.
He's gone.
That's the new rule this year.
If you've got a clear path and drop the crown of your helmet into a defenseless player, you're gone. Look at number 30, Council. See if he drops his helmet. Bang. And that's clearly the definition of the new penalty. He will be gone from the game, and he will also miss the first half of the next game.
It is a penalty that is reviewable.
As to the ejection, but not to the 15 yards.
The penalty is going to stand, but a disqualification was turned around just in Oklahoma's last game as they had a defensive player. Gabe Lynn called for it. They reviewed it, and then they discovered that it wasn't targeting. So here is the new rule. Players who target and contact defenseless opponents, as you explained, Mike, above the shoulders, disqualified, and a 15-yard penalty. And again, if it occurs in the first half, the remainder of the game, second half, you miss out the first half of the next contest.
I don't see anything there that would tell me that isn't anything but, and Council wasn't trying to hurt him. There was nothing there. It's a bang-bang play, but that was correctly officiated. That is the new rule, and Ben Council has to go in.
They were taking a look at it, but Ed is going to stand. Council leaves the game on the targeting, DQ'd. And with a penalty, the Sooners up at the Notre Dame 49-yard line. Tripping out of the backfield a bit there was Williams. He maybe got a yard.
And understand, beyond all those implications, that was a key first down, because that was a third down play which would have forced a punt off the incompletion.
So second down and 9 it'll be for Oklahoma. Clock continuing to roll as the Notre Dame defense needs a big stop here, trailing by 14. They've won 10 straight at home. That streak is on the line and in danger of being snapped by Oklahoma. Bell backing up, and that is a catch made on the top of his cleats by Damian Williams. He's short of the first down, but a nice grab there for a gain of 6.
And by the way, that was well defensed. I don't know how this kid came up with the catch. Notre Dame got players read it. Konashwenki saw it. Shembo saw it. Really nice shoe tip catch by Williams. Makes a little something out of nothing with great hands.
Oklahoma has welcomed back Damian Williams, who's having a really good game for the Sooners. Catching it, running it, and now third down and 2.
Their team speed is elite. We said that at the top.
Bell flushed out, being chased, pressured, incomplete. That'll bring up fourth down as he tried to get it to Sterling Shepard.
Number 3 was in the area.
Bell was slow in getting up again. Tuitt was back pressuring Bell.
Tuitt's on a twist stunt with Ishaq Williams, and as Bell gets out of the pocket, there's nothing wrong with that.
So it's Jed Barnett trying to pin Notre Dame back deep. T.J. Jones standing back to receive it with 8:10 left. And they're going to take a delay again. Give Barnett maybe just a little more room to work with on the punt.
Yeah, continue to want that clock to run all the way down.
Off.
Barnett knocked the first couple punts into the back of the end zone. You might want to take 2 or 3 more of those. So you get some height here.
Jones coming up at the 20. So the Irish trailing 35-21 and 8:03 left. We're back on offense when we return to South Bend in a moment. The Shamrock Series heads to the heart of Texas next week. Arizona State taking on Notre Dame at AT&T Stadium, home of the Cowboys. Fighting Irish looking to turn up the heat on the Sun Devils. You got a big game themselves tonight against USC, another opponent down the road for Notre Dame later in the season. So it's Notre Dame and ASU a week from tonight. Irish go to the air. Troy Nicholas was backed up there as Reese was a little deep on the throw.
I don't know. I think he had a chance to make a play, and I thought he stumbled at the end of this. There was really good protection. 5-man pressure. Nice job with the offensive line. Nicholas has a chance to make a play here. The ball's thrown behind, but you see how he trips and falls? I think that was catchable if he doesn't trip. Almost catches it anyway.
Not to compare him to Tyler Eifert, but those are the kind of plays that Eifert used to make almost routinely. But Nicholas has been impressive catching the football, certainly compared to the last year or so. 2nd and 10. Reese to the air again. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. And that'll bring up 3rd down. Almost had the look of another INT for a score for the Sooners.
Yeah, they're so quick off the edge. See here, they coming off the edge here. Or Striker up the middle. Nice block. That's Phillips, 6'6", 324. I was at practice on Tuesday. Bob Stoops told me that kid right there at 6'6", 324 did a backflip in front of him the first day he met him at practice.
Come on.
Full pads. Everybody was telling him that the kid could do a backflip. He was like, get out of here. There's no way. In full pads, in front of Stoops, Jordan Phillips did it.
Ball start. Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Troy Nicholas with the movement for Notre Dame, which sets them back another 5. So 3rd and 10 turns into 3rd and 15 from their own 15. 7:53 to go. Notre Dame trailing by 14.
Rush 4.
Reese gets rid of it. Intended for T.J. Jones. And that will bring up 4th down.
Really nice job by the corner there. Sanchez does a nice job. They were trying to get him to bite on a short route and throw it in behind him. And good situational awareness. They're going to have a short route right in front of him and bring it in behind. Watch him. Sinks back under, forces the incompletion, and that's really well disciplined. I like the way he handled that. Quarterback coach Bobby Jack Wright's going to be happy when they watch that tape.
Notre Dame needs a good punt out of Brinza, and they get it. Saunders is driven back inside of his own 30. So when it looked like the Sooners were going to get really good field position, Notre Dame is going to have them start at about the 31. 55-yard punt for Brinza, who was brilliant last week with 3 late punts to flip field position. And so that is where Blake Bell and the Oklahoma Sooners will begin this drive with 7:36 left. Well, we mentioned that national championship implications here if Oklahoma can remain perfect, and a look at their schedule down the road, Mike?
Yeah, and remember, they've already played 3 at home. This is the first road game. They go home to TCU, and then the big game with Texas, who's been down. Kansas is down. Texas Tech is ranked. Baylor is ranked. But they have an open week before Baylor. So I think the schedule lays out pretty well for Coach Stoops.
Oklahoma State lost today. So this is Roy Finch. Haven't seen him in a while. But they finally corral him as Jarrett Grace brings him down.
Now you talk about that schedule, and they get an open week before Notre Dame. They get an open week before Baylor, which has become a really good football program. And then they get an open week before Oklahoma State at the end of the season. So they get 3 open weeks, first of all, which is kind of a quirk of scheduling. And secondly, all pretty strategically placed. I think that guy ought to go thank his athletic director. That was well done.
2nd down and 9. Finch remains behind Bell. And here he is, the little guy, darting his way through up close to the 40. Short of the first down, Matthias Farley on the stop.
Well, he's fun to watch. 5'7", 167. And that might be stretching it both on the height and the weight.
So the Irish need a stop here. There is time, 6:24 and counting.
Yeah, you're right, Dan. There is time, but you got to get a stop.
Yep. These 3rd downs become even more magnified at this point of the game.
I'd look at a quarterback draw or something in the short zone.
Empty backfield. Bell rolling to his right, incomplete. So 4th down, and that'll bring out the punting unit for Oklahoma, intended for Saunders. Jalen Smith, the outstanding true freshman, starting outside linebacker in the coverage.
Very similar to their 2-point conversion play. Roll the pocket, run a quick out against the slot. You've got a true freshman trying to cover it. Right here, all it's going to be is booming out. Jalen Smith, it's a little bit of a disadvantage for a linebacker, no matter how gifted, to try and cover a little slot. Poor throw, though, by the quarterback.
TJ Jones, this is not a very good punt. Jones watches it bounce in front of him and then picks it up at about the 24. Nothing short of drama when TJ Jones has been back there returning punts. He's a little slow to get up. Notre Dame trailing the Sooners. So trailing by 14, the Irish begin this drive at their own 24. And since that 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive early in this 4th quarter, Notre Dame's 2 possessions have been 2 3-and-outs. They need to put something together here to get back in it. Reese. And that pass is broken up.
Colvin. NFL caliber corner, 6 feet 192, a senior. I've had some scouts tell me he's got a chance to go fairly high. Watch a little man-to-man, and then he drops his weight and drives. And that's pretty. I don't care what you look at, his weight stayed down, his feet are quick, and he did a nice job driving on the football.
Colvin missed the last game against Tulsa after getting knocked in the jaw. But he's back. Big break up there. It's 2nd down and 10. Reese. And a little confusion on the route over there with Nicholas.
It was the same route they throw on the last series where they try to get a little pick. They try to get a little pick and isolate the linebacker. And that time, Nicholas thought the linebacker was going to get over top. So he's in here and he's around. Now he's going to stop because he sees the linebacker over top of him. Tommy Reese read it differently, and he threw it up top. And boy, is he frustrated.
That is the 7th straight incompletion for Reese, and now it's 3rd and 10. Reese with a pressure. Pass is almost intercepted. There's Zach Sanchez stepping in front to break it up and bring up 4th down. Chris Brown, the intended receiver.
2 weeks in a row, aggressive man-to-man coverage has completely thrown the Notre Dame passing attack out of whack. They don't have a bunch of receivers that can win. This time it's Sanchez on the crossing route. He jumps it quickly. The protection wasn't there. And Notre Dame's run the football well today, but boy, the pass attack has looked horrendous.
And forced to punt it away. Brinz's punt called for as a fair catch at the 40 by Saunders. And so now 5:39 left. Blake Bell and the Sooners want to get in there and chew some clock up.
Yeah, and we talked at the very top about the elite team speed for Oklahoma on both sides of the line. I think it really showed today. I mean, on defense, Julian Wilson, the nickel back, won't let Atkinson outside. Off the edge, one of the biggest plays of the game early on, Stryker. On offense now, the handoff to Damian Williams, perimeter speed, get the cut on Jalen Smith, dance into the end zone, and finally, 53-yard pass, crossing route against zone coverage. Sterling Shepard just outruns everybody, and I think that's been the tale of the tape today. Elite team speed for Oklahoma.
So Bell on the Sooners just going to keep it on the ground here. That is Brennan Clay. It is hard to come back, Mike, in a game that you see yourself with an interception thrown in the first 45 seconds of the game, and in less than 3 minutes into the game, you're down 14-0.
Yeah, and I thought they got it stabilized. It was 14-7. They started to run the football, but again, big plays, and you can't let a receiver on a short crossing route on 3rd down go 53 yards.
So on 2nd and 7, Bell content to let that play clock roll down.
Yep, he's got his eyes right on that clock.
And it appears Bell, with a win on the road here, perhaps solidifying his spot as a starting quarterback. That is Brennan Clay, who gets loose there for another 1st down.
Really doing a nice job. 79 and right tackle Darrell Williams held there. Wasn't seen, but I'm just impressed by this entire Oklahoma offense. You start talking about where are they in the national picture. They win today, they go to 4-0. They entered the day as a top 15 type team. They can move up close to the top 10, and they've got a favorable schedule.
And when you're in Norman, Oklahoma, and you've had Bob Stoops go to 4 national championship games, that becomes what is expected there if you're a Sooner fan. On 1st and 10, Clay gets the carry as Oklahoma has racked up about 200 yards rushing or so today. And again, we go back to last year when they got just 15 yards rushing in that loss to Notre Dame at Owen Field. And there's the new offensive line coach, Bill Bedenbaugh, who has toughened up that front for the Sooners.
Yeah,
he looks tough, doesn't he?
It's like most offensive line coaches I've met.
Guy's out of Central Casting.
Yeah, he is, and they've done a really nice job. And I like the fact that even though they stretch you so wide horizontally, they're still coming after you in that power run game, in addition to attacking the perimeter.
2nd and 7. Sooners give it back to Clay, short of the 1st down. It'll bring up 3rd down. Clock rolling, 3:21 it stops at.
A nice job again on Nix. They double teamed them, and Gabe Eichert ended up singling them. I mean, their game plan offensively from a scheme perspective, I thought was really smart.
Timeout taken by the Irish, stops the clock with 3:21 left. Notre Dame with 1 timeout left, and trailing 35-21, in danger of falling to 3-2.
That last play, we talk about scheme and how you help your center. You can see the initial double team here and here, and then when the left guard feels that Eichert's got him, he goes up to the 2nd level. Eichert stays on him, and it's been a tough day for Louis Nix, and a lot of it has to do with the ability of Eichert, but even more of it is the coaching staff taking care with scheme.
3rd down and 4. Looking for Clay out of the backfield, and he drives his way to the 1st down. Yep, they spot him just past what he needed to get to. That's a big pickup.
Yeah, these running backs run aggressive, including the quarterback, Bell. I mean, you don't get any freebies tackling these guys.
Well, we took a look at Oklahoma's upcoming schedule, and we talked about how the Irish in the Shamrock Series have Arizona State in Dallas Saturday, then back home against USC, and that'll end the real tough part meat of the schedule. Not to say that the rest of the teams, including Stanford down there,
yeah, Arizona State hosts USC tonight, as a matter of fact.
1st and 10. Clay continuing to chew up yards and clock.
Tackle by Shoemate.
Mentioned earlier that Notre Dame has won 9 of the 10 games in this series. Again, most of the games in the series taking place in the 50s and the 60s. But it appears that Bob Stoops is on the threshold of winning for the first time. The lone Oklahoma win, Mike, 57 years ago in 1956. And you know how much he wanted to kind of right what went wrong back 14 years ago in 1999. And more importantly for Oklahoma and his fans, get them on track for perhaps another chase at the national championship.
Yeah, and I think there was some frustration last year with the way the season ended up, and I know there were some people didn't like Notre Dame coming into Norman and handling them physically. So I give him credit. He made some coaching changes. He made some philosophical changes defensively. They went to a 3-man front with 3 linebackers, the better to use their team speed. So that's a head coach in the middle of his career still making changes, both because of the conference he's in and because of the personnel he has.
And then you have Notre Dame, 10 straight wins here at home, but 15 out of the last 17 games they've won, on the cusp of losing one. Brennan Clay picks up the first down, content to take a seat about the 16-yard line. Gain of 12 for him. And that look on the face of Tommy Rees just about tells it all.
9 for 24, 3 interceptions. I thought the first 2 were not really on him. The third was. Can't keep digging out of 14-point deficits against good competition. It just doesn't happen.
So Bell working at the Notre Dame 17. To Clay again. Well, we certainly cannot argue with the weather at Notre Dame Stadium today. Another sellout crowd enjoying the view of it all. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything we've learned making tires that go the distance inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Boy, Stoops and his troops have quieted this 80,000 plus down, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them on their way out right now.
That was a timeout called.
Yep.
Stoops is like, all right.
My bad.
Now, we showed you what happened in 1957 when Notre Dame ended the Oklahoma incredible 47-game winning streak. But we just talked about the Sooners' lone victory over the Irish the year before. They were in the midst of that big winning streak. Notre Dame, despite having the Heisman winner that year, Paul Hornung, who's the first Heisman Trophy winner to ever play on a losing team, as Notre Dame went 2-8 that year. They couldn't muster any offense, and the Sooners would cruise to a 40-0 victory and would go on to win another national championship, one of 3 titles won by the great Bud Wilkinson.
Oklahoma's excellent SID took me on a tour through their football facility on Tuesday, where I saw that Play Like a Champion Today sign and all the Heisman trophies. And I just love history and tradition, and these 2 teams, when you take a step back and realize what they've accomplished over the years, are quite something.
Bell taking a knee. Yeah, they are incredible programs, and in this day and age, it just seems like it gets tougher and tougher to win, tougher and tougher to stay consistent, and Bob Stoops has been a model of that, and that's what Brian Kelly on the other side of the field has been trying to rekindle at Notre Dame.
And I give Stoops some credit here in this day and age of the BCS and computer polls and trying to get as many points as you can to get as close as you can. I think the classy thing here is to take a knee, and that's what they're doing. I applaud that.
Well, the coaches, Notre Dame and Certainly a lot of the players as well, telling us that this was going to be the best collection of talent we could play all year. And in the end, Bob Stoops and his talented and deep, fast Sooner football team gives Notre Dame its second loss of the season and its first at home after 10 straight wins here at Notre Dame Stadium. And I imagine that's what the message will be from Brian Kelly. Team got beat, turned the ball over too many times early. Can't do it against a quality team like that as Oklahoma moves to 4-0 on the year.
When they were a good turnover team, they went to the national championship game. When they were a bad turnover team, they went 8-5 the 2 previous years. It's not that hard a formula.
So 35-21 is the final score as the Sooners just win for the second time in this series. And the first time in 57 years. Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator, Bob's brother, a part of another winning effort here for Oklahoma. As we send it down to Alex with Mike's brother.
Bob Stoops here, Dan. And Coach, you talked going into this game that it would be a measuring stick for you and this team, even though you came in 3-0. What did you learn about your team today?
Well, we're still growing, but we played tough. We played hard. Played all 4 quarters. You know, we lost the game really in the second half of the 4th quarter a year ago. We were determined not to let that happen again, and I'm really proud of our players. No turnovers. We played great.
You said this would be one of the most physical defensive fronts that you had played so far this year. So what did it say to you about your offensive line and your running game tonight?
I'm really proud of them. The offensive line and Trey Millard, Aaron Ripkowski, the tight ends and backs with them, they did really, they played well. You know, this is a difficult team to run the ball on, and I was really proud of how we did it and ran out the clock.
You did it with a quarterback making his first road start. How did Blake Bell handle the moment?
He couldn't have done much better other than maybe hydrate a little better. He had cramps, and we had to take him in and get him juiced up, but he was fabulous.
I know that you're focusing on one game at a time. What does it mean to you, if anything, to come in here and win a game here?
Well, it is a big measuring stick. They've done, you know, what they've done the last couple of years. They're an excellent football team. To come in and play so solid, I'm really proud of our players. And my assistant coaches did a great job having them ready.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So the Sooners do indeed bounce back from the loss last year in Norman and do it in convincing fashion as the alma mater is played in the corner of the end zone. Blake Bell looks like he has solidified his spot as the starting quarterback for Oklahoma. And Mike, some final thoughts from you on just how far you think this Oklahoma Sooner team can go and how they stack up against some of the other elite teams that you've had a chance to look at this year.
You know, it's interesting. I think we learned some things about both teams today, and I wasn't sure how good this team was. I knew how they could fly. They have elite speed, and when you have elite speed, you can compete with anybody. I just worry about whether or not they can hold up against some of the big SEC teams in the run game.
Send it back down to Alex.
So, Coach, they were so quick, really on offense and defense. How much of a factor was speed in this game?
No, it wasn't the factor, obviously, to the last touchdown, where we let a slant route turn into a touchdown. Thought our defense did a great job today. The story is the 2 touchdowns that we gave up on offense is the difference in the game.
And why is that? I mean, man coverage seems to be really challenging for you guys. How do you overcome that?
Well, if you were watching the game, Alex, it was a sack that forces the ball out of Tommy's. That has nothing to do with man coverage. Where we blow an assignment and they pick it up and score. The second one was simply a bad throw. So, you know, that has nothing to do with man coverage. Yeah, so those are the 2 turnovers. Other than that, we ran the ball effectively, and then, you know, you're down 2 scores. It's predictable, you know, what's going to happen against the good defense. So if we could have obviously taken that away, then we're where we want to be, running the football, play action pass. We got where we wanted to be, running the football, play action pass. We had a wide open tight end. That's the way we have to play. If you're going to turn the football over and give Oklahoma a 14-point lead, you're in trouble.
Hard to overcome. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, so the Irish get ready for the Arizona State Sun Devils as the Shamrock Series continues. Notre Dame in Dallas. And for Brian Kelly's full press conference, you can go to NBCSports.com as once again the final score 35-21. Don't forget again, the Irish and the Sun Devils in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Tonight at 11:30, 10:30 Central, it's the season premiere of Saturday Night Live with host Tina Fey, musical guest Arcade Fire. Right now, stay with us on NBC Sports Network for the Notre Dame post-game show for our whole crew here. Mike Mayock and Alex Flanagan, Dan Hicks saying so long from Notre Dame Stadium. Sooners 35, Irish 21.